Hello and welcome to week 2 of season 2 of the Prep Phase League. We have yeah, hi, I'm Septimus and this is Siege Lord. My apologies about that. Um, we are going to be going over Just Shoot 'em versus YoloSynthesis. Definitely going to be a good matchup here. YOLO, of course, did pop in and make a showing in the first season of Prep Phase, and unfortunately was able to was having to back out after the first 2 weeks. So we are taking a look at them, and of course, Just Shoot 'em. Everybody knows from the Prep Phase tournament where they did come in third against Guy Logic.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, it seems like we've been having a few issues with the prep phase site. Some people aren't quite able to get in and use the drafting mode sometimes, so we might have to do the good old season one, week 1, week 3 thing where we do the drafting in all chat. But hopefully we can push through those issues.
So, alright, and looks like they are readying up now. And
So these two teams have matched up before. Back in season 1, for I think the first 2 weeks, YoloSynthesis was around. They didn't have the best record, so they did end up dropping out. Maybe it was because of the record, maybe it was because of scheduling conflicts. Who knows? But they weren't around for very long. And for those of you who watched week 1 of season 2, YOLO wasn't actually here last week either. So now they're back. Teams are relatively the same as when they did meet up in that season 1 clash, and each of them got one win in their fight. So there's no clear winner no clear favorite between the two of these teams at this point.
well, yeah, and their total record for the 2 weeks that they did play was a 1-1-2. That's 1 win, 1 tie, and of course 2 losses that were full sweeps to them. Of course, their 2 losses were against Outplayed and Guy Logic. Both of those teams coming in third and fourth in the tournament, so they were definitely against some of the better teams out there. And their wins, they did do the split against Just Shoot 'em, who came in third, who they're also facing today. They did also have a complete sweep going up against Moon Gang, which was another one of those season 1 teams that seemed to kind of disappear from view after a week or two.
So YoloSynthesis is continuing their target bans that they did last time against JSE. So they're banning out the Gremo first, and then JSE is countering with the power pick ban of Rask. Pretty standard from that point of view. And then with the only other tier 1 tank going over to YOLO on their first pick, with them picking up Asana.
Yeah, and it looks like we will be on Evos Laboratory. And of course, Just Shoot 'em does respond, taking Helio up as their very first pick.
Pretty standard for the most part coming out of Just Shoot 'em. Basically trying to just get the basics locked down. Picking up the power picks and building a team over whichever ones you get, whether it be Rask, Helio, Lockwood. Finn is arguably up there. Gray actually has a massively high win rate as well, except a lot of that has to do with Trash's priority on her. So there's a little bit skewed, but
Yeah, and of course, there are some interesting things here, like for those of you who don't really follow some of the tactics at play here with the picking and banning. What happened is we had YoloSynthesis picked off their frontliner first off, so of course Just Shoot 'em is going to go ahead and pick their support. Basically, at this point, it's going to become a grab for the firepowers they want, since neither team is very likely going to go for a double frontliner or a double support composition here.
So I definitely like seeing that Gray coming out from YOLO. Again, we don't have very many numbers as far as the team itself is concerned, YoloSynthesis consisting of a lot of people who aren't really seen in PPL, even as subs or whatnot, when they weren't around. And me personally, I haven't seen them a lot in solo queue, but just from strictly the numbers, I'm liking the Grey coming in, especially with the Asana.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, Just Shoot 'em going with a very strong lineup here so far. Helio, Celeste, and Lockwood thus far. Celeste and Lockwood, definitely two of the more sought after picks here. And YoloSynthesis then taking their third up as Azuki.
Zuki is interesting. I'm not sure that that's the most optimal, but if they're comfortable with it, they're comfortable with it. I would have thought it'd be a bit more direct damage, but if the two main direct damage, like best duelists so far, the Celeste and the Lockwood, have already come out, and we can expect a Titus from Just Shoot 'em. Very few teams have managed to make the 3 firepower, 1 support work properly. So yeah, there it is. The Garrison. Garrison's coming in instead of Titus. That's a little bit unexpected. Garrison is not particularly well respected because he doesn't have the excuse me, I'm forgetting the word. The disencouraging factors that come with a Rask or an Asana. So Asana has the shield that she can proc whenever, which is doing the retribution damage, whereas Rask just gets his ult up sooner. Garrison, once he has the shields down that he gets from his rockets and his jump, he's kind of squishy as far as the tank's concerned. And his dash doesn't come up in the same way that Titus's dash can come up, and it's not nearly as far. So it's a little bit of a unrespected pick from a lot of teams, but we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that it has a strong showing this time around.
Yeah, and there are a lot of kind of give and takes with Garrison, but when we do see him played well, it is very effective. His ability to kind of rocket in and rocket out, not to mention the global ultimate reach that he has, can be very effective, especially in some of the clutch moments of these games.
We haven't seen him a lot. There was a time, I don't know how long people have been around, but there was a time when Garrison was ridiculously powerful. And he kept getting nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. And the most recent patch that affected him, it was a bit of a quality of life upgrade, which is when he does ult, the health that spawns will for sure be in the middle, so there's no guessing about where it's going to be. And if an ally is on one of those middle 4 squares, they automatically get the 10 health. So sometimes it can help sway a duel on the other end of the map if that's how the battle's playing out. Can heal up a guy who's been getting rocked. It can also do that 35-40 damage to help out that team member as well.
Yeah, and I think small tweaks like that are really is gonna, what's going to make Garrison a little bit more powerful, especially as they continue to balance these characters out through the beta. Of course, Garrison now able to, like you mentioned, drop that 10 health right on top of somebody's head. Makes him just a little bit more, just gives him that little tiny bit of support that he's able to do. Of course, they did kind of retract that a little bit by making those health bubbles only last for 2 turns. That did take away a little bit of the support level of it, whereas previously they had lasted the entire match until somebody picked him up.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. I don't think it's like the difference that it would make letting them stay the entire time. I don't think it's actually game breaking. But again, we're not balance masters. We're not QA guys, so we're gonna have to just go with how it is. So
yeah, and it does look like the game is starting here. So of course we've got YoloSynthesis coming in as the red team, whereas Just Shoot 'em coming in as the blue guys.
I'm really liking the start from blue from JSE, the 3-1, getting the most eyes out as possible. This isn't necessarily the best map for it, but it's still a solid strategy, in my opinion. The only problem is that in this particular instance, Celeste is going to be on her own, so we can almost guarantee a dash if she gets seen.
And it does look like Echelon's going to be throwing that big one out. Does catch Celeste with a slow. And of course, just a little bit of energy gain coming in from Jarko Max. and Celeste now caught with 4 enemies staring her right in the face. We're definitely probably going to be seeing that dash come out in this case.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. May have been a little bit better for it to be. I'm sorry, who's the other one? Lockwood over on that end, just because of the might. She can guarantee that she could have had might control with Celeste's passive of picking up orbs and whatnot. I didn't really like that start over from YOLO, however, because Aurora only managed to hit 1 with her primary. So it broke the bush, gave knowledge, and they didn't get a lot of energy for it.
Yeah, and of course we had Anatomical doing a dash out there like we were thinking he would, just to avoid all the damage that's going to be heading his way. Does leave a trap behind. Maybe someone will walk into it, and Jarkomax does throw out his basic attack to gain up a little energy, and of course if Celeste had stayed there, would have taken a little damage, but got out with that dash.
One of the two things that we could see happening here is there could be a bit of a risky jump coming out of Garrison. Doesn't have complete eyes on where everybody is for sure, but he could make the guess, try to do the combo with the Helio, get in the disruption, and we'll see if it manages to pay off if he does go for it.
And of course a trap coming out from Carradine blocking off that little walkthrough there. Garrison does do the jump with the black hole. Will be catching 3 members there, I believe. A bounce shot from Lockwood hitting Ashelos, and Rio coming out to catch Hacksaw. And of course a little bit more energy gain coming out of Jarkomax, and that black hole comes, catching Asana and knocking just about everybody out of position to surround himself.
Yeah, this unfortunately, because they expected the movement from YoloSynthesis, they assumed that the members had moved back a little bit, so the wall the black hole would have thrown them left over the wall. So they position it horizontally like this, or vertically like this instead of horizontally. So unfortunately, no one did get scrambled, but he's still in a prime position to be punching everybody pretty much.
Yeah, and there goes those weak darts hitting both Garrison and Lockwood. Zuki getting out of town. A spray and pray coming out from Carradine to hit several of the enemy team. Here come those rockets coming out of Garrison, once again hitting those 3 surrounding him. He does a double punch, hitting both Gray and Asana. Gray, of course, responds with a shot to the face.
So yeah, that was a pretty solid spray and pray, getting the vision down, hitting 3 targets, pulling up tons of energy. Carradine is almost over halfway, for sure, over 2/3 of the way through to his ult. I know for a fact Carradine fancies himself one of the best duelists in the game, but he doesn't really have to do it. It looked like he might have had to duel Zuki there for a moment, but no, just continuing on with the 2v3, and they are winning it now.
And once again, here comes Jarkomax, using that Asana to great effect, hitting 2 to 3, 4 members or players at a time. Hacksaw throwing out a hit, hitting both Gray and Aurora. And Carradine taking a huge amount of damage from both Gray and Zuki, but responding with a shot to hit both of them as well. Some smoke coming out is going to catch Asana in the middle of it to take away vision, as she also then runs into another one of the smoke bombs.
Yeah, so we got 2 firepowers down, getting roughed up pretty hard. Gray over for YOLO has been just getting punished by this Garrison, whereas Lockwood has gotten the focus fire from almost everybody. Can expect him to be dashing or flashing to get out of this one, and we'll see how the Zuki and the Asana react accordingly.
All right, there goes a shield landing on Hacksaw to protect him for 28. Ashelos gonna throw out another big one, trying to predict that dash coming from Lockwood. Jarkomax throwing out that Paralaser to give, it looks like Might, has the Might buff on there to both Jarkomax and Asana, who is then going to do a sweep and catch Awesome Sauce, who responds with the Echo Hammer, focusing on Ashelos but also hitting Box Cube. Celeste doing a focus on the Gray, who then gets finished off by Hacksaw, also hitting Jarko for a little bit as well. First Blood going to just shoot him.
Yeah, that was a good clean kill coming on with Celeste helping to finish off Gray over on the top side of the map. Then that means Garrison has his ult up already, along with Lockwood. Lockwood's got to decide if he's going to want to flash out or try to get the damage down onto Zuki. Because if he stays where he is, he's going to die.
So, of course, Jarkomax throwing that heal on himself. Keratin then using his ultimate to hit Box Cube, but Echelos uses that catalyst to get out of dodge. Box Cube predicted that and does a swipe, leaving Jarko with single-digit health. And there comes Anatomical trying to catch someone with that shot, but missing because of the catalyst. Box Cube then catching damage from both Helio and, of course, the ultimate coming in from Hacksaw. Finish him off, getting that second kill for Just Shoot 'em.
So this is a little bit of a dicey proposition over for YOLO because, yeah, sure, Zuki's winning this fight to get the health, but it also means that the two remaining members are cornered off. There, you can see there's going to end up being a little bit of a horseshoe coming in if Zuki does go after the health. So they'll be surrounded with Helio on the left, Celeste coming in probably from the left as well, with Garrison on the top.
And we got Hacksaw activating those missiles there. Keratin finally using that shield buff and catching some more shields from Helio. He then throws out a trap to try and keep Zuki in place there. Helio throwing that black hole onto Hacksaw, preparing for the jump here next turn. Jarkomax throwing out some damage to both Hacksaw and Celeste, and of course a rocket hitting Keratin, but thankfully because of those shields he does not go down. The focus is now going on the Jarkomax, only with 25, I believe, health remaining, 26.
So here's another interesting decision that this Aurora has to make now, because one way or another she's going to be getting hit by this black hole, and she's got to decide if it's worth it to try to get as much damage out on this ult as possible, because the healing is going to be relatively minimized since Sana and Gray are first full health and nowhere near the battle in the first place. There's an argument to be made that she should save it for when she respawns and comes into the fight.
Let's throw a wrench into the works.
And of course there goes a wall out from Awesome Sauce. Not sure about the positioning on that. But when we got Hacksaw jumping in with that black hole to catch Jarkomax and Achelos with it, a great ultimate coming out from Aurora, hitting both Hacksaw, Achelos, and of course Anatomical as well. But there goes those rockets hitting both Achelos and Jarkomax. Sticky bombs coming out from Achelos to hit Awesome Sauce and Anatomical. And Rio going out to add just a little bit more damage to those two as well. And there goes the wall. The black hole, rather, catching Jarkomax with the wall, but unfortunately not Achelos because of where he was standing at.
So this will be interesting. Again, it looks like, well, Sana can't actually heal, so never mind. We know for sure that these two are going to die one way or another. It's just a determination as to how Zuki's going to try to divvy out her damage. If she ults here, she's obviously intending to get a second ult before the end of the game.
And Keratin getting some more protection from those Helio shields, obviously with the through walls. Echelos doing that ultimate just like you stated, but only on to Hacksaw and Awesome Sauce. And then we got Lockwood, of course, shooting Gray right in the face there. Rio doing its little bit of damage, and here comes the ultimate, dealing 64 to Awesome Sauce and Hacksaw. Awesome Sauce then puts out a Echo Hammer onto Box, but was weakened, and then finally that death coming to Lockwood, and Hacksaw throwing the punch out, and those rockets going in just to do that little extra damage, taking Aurora down. So that was a 1-to-1 kill, taking out both Lockwood and Aurora. And of course they are quite split up.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually that Zuki survived, although it's not unreasonable because she was behind covers, so it would have taken a lot of focus to make sure that she did die. That was a little bit of bad math in my head. But now that she has dash, she can get out, she can try to survive another turn, get the damage down range, see if she can help bring this back from this 3-1 deficit.
And several shields going up there. Of course, Awesome Sauce gonna save that ultimate for himself since he only had 2 health left. We had Achelos jumping out with only the 22 health, try and save for the next day. Had Omnom hitting Awesome Sauce there for quite a bit of damage. Anatomical gonna end up rooted by Box Cube, who's then gonna take quite a bit of damage from Anatomical's ult, and of course the Helio ultimate there. And of course, that was a 4th kill. Or just shoot him.
Yeah, probably not a prediction. Probably just going in to try to get the max damage out. Again, just putting ults down range. She does have energize, so she should get another ultimate up here soon. But it's not looking good. It's definitely not looking good for YOLO at this point. Shields and heals coming out from everybody at this point as well.
But of course, also throwing that black hole on himself, trying to predict for next turn. Boxcube doing a swipe, but then also taking some damage. Hacksaw putting the slow on him, plus some damage, taking the Helio ult as well, bringing him down to quite little health. Omnom throwing that ultimate out, cutting off the turn, but then of course, catching 2 kills there from that ultimate, that gray ultimate. Boxcube looks like out of trouble for now.
Yeah, that was pretty good. The turnaround. Boxcube does have 2 ways that she can get out on this Asana. With either the ult or with just the normal dash. And we'll see which one uses in order to avoid dying here and losing the... Oh, Turtle Tech. Never mind. It's good juke as well.
Of course, Anatomical dropping a trap there and then dashing out of the way. Let's see what we got. Omnom shooting, missing because of the dash, and of course Jarkamax throwing out the box of death there. Not a lot of action that turn as everybody just tries to move in the position. Of course, Anatomical caught a little bit out on his own for the moment.
Yeah, so one way or another, Omnom we can expect to make sure that whether it's a drone or just primary damage, that make sure it will hit this green health as well in case Anatomical decides to flash over onto it. Because one way or another is in rough shape.
And of course,
Anatomical.
Jarkamax throwing out that paralaser there. Also, Anatomical catching a weak from Omnom as well. Anatomical responding in turn with a double hit, and then of course both Jarkamax and Omnom catching a pure shot from Lockwood over there. Omnom taking the core of the damage, that big one missing everyone, and then Rio coming in doing huge 25 damage from Rio, and then getting finished off from Echelos, putting it at a 4-4 tie. This is highly unexpected considering what we were seeing just a few turns earlier. YoloSynthesis has managed to bring it back and tie it up.
So Gray is in a little bit of a dicey position from where she is, but usually she can successfully duel Lockwood. Maybe not with this current health total, but with the Asana coming in with an ultimate, potentially body blocking. Again, Lockwood has the piercing mod, so it's not going to block all the damage if she decides to go that route, but it still would help. Oh, no, instead she just dashes out herself.
Yeah, and then of course Jarkamax dealing that damage with that AoE. Kieran expecting that dash, using a spray and pray and still hitting Omnom. And of course another low action turn as it looks like YoloSynthesis is just going to set up in the corner in a defensive position.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of resources to keep Gray alive this turn. I think they either have to go for keeping Gray alive or getting a kill in order to tie it up at 5-5. And because the only target they can see that they have even a chance to be able to hit successfully is this Garrison, I think they're going to go with the try to keep Gray alive plan.
Yeah, and there it is, that heal. And of course, Boxcube jumping in with the ultimate too to try and protect those two in the corner. A big one coming out from Echelos to slow down Hacksaw and of course cover that corner area. Hacksaw, of course, jumping out. Carradine also dashing as well. Lots of avoidance coming in this turn. And Hacksaw's missiles catching Echelos, Jarkamax, and Boxcube. But of course, no real damage done with all the protection coming out.
This big one will do sizable amounts of damage, and if Lockwood can get the angle right to go in and hit with his ultimate, this might be enough of the AoE damage to get her done. Oh, Garrison also has his own ult, so can potentially be a lot of burst coming in this turn.
Yeah, especially with that little cluster in the corner. Boxcube, of course, throwing that Asana shield up. Awesome Sauce throwing Carradine a shield, who then also throws a trap and could hit any one of those guys. And then we have Echelos jumping out of there. Lots of catalysts going off. Everybody just avoiding the damage. Carradine still catching Aurora. And Omnom there. Jarkamax and Omnom. And of course an Echo Hammer coming in from Awesome Sauce to catch Box Cube and Jarkamax. That big one dealing no damage. And Hacksaw's ultimate coming in to miss all of them, but leave a little health for their side should they need it.
2 turns remaining.
Well, this is... Yeah, these were some good jukes, quite frankly, coming in over from JSC. They managed to burn almost all the dashes over on YoloSynthesis's end, and now they have to go for the kill from YoloSynthesis, because one way or another, they're going to be getting hit at least 2 people by this Lockwood ultimate.
Yeah, it looks like a little more mitigation coming out from Omnom, but Carradine comes in and deals his ultimate 45 damage to all 3 of those players in the corner, Box Cube, Jarko, and Omnom. Box, of course, replying with a sweep, hitting both Awesome and Carradine, and then Hacksaw doing that shot into the corner, setting Jarkamax up for the kill from both some smoke and an Echo Hammer coming from Awesome Sauce, being the 5th kill for Just Shoot 'em, winning them the game.
Victory.
That was pretty solid. All the jukes that are coming through, they did well, because it takes a lot of willpower, a lot of discipline in order to make sure that you don't just burn that Lockwood ult over and over again, because that was sort of what he did in the first round, in the first combat on the other end of the map, but he just held it to make sure that he had it for the winning play. Came out on turn 19, and again, it doesn't matter if you win by a meter or a mile, because they ended up winning with it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, big credit out to YoloSynthesis, who haven't played in nearly 2 months as a team together. Looks like they also have a couple new members on there, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while, though, since I've seen the roster. And they did incredibly well that turn, or that match, coming in, 4-4 on turn 16, I believe it was, to tie it up right there at the very end, putting a lot of pressure on Just Shoot 'em, who I'm pretty sure thought that they had this game in the bag 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah, I'll admit it, even I was thinking that they were done for by that point, but again, was mistaken. YOLO brought it back. Like, respect to them. Very close to winning, but they did spend a lot of time juking. What was it, 3 turns juking?
Yeah.
So maybe, again, it was the same call that I would have made about the jukes, assuming that lots of AoE damage was coming in. But it turned out that that was the losing play this time. They weren't getting rounds down range themselves. They were grouping up too much in this corner. It was just causing problems. We didn't mention it during the game, but that brain juice after the spray and pray on turn 16, I think, by Lockwood, that was extremely good, because he didn't have to use his ultimate to do damage the next turn. He just did a second spray and pray on turn 17, and it still caught 3 people, still getting pressure down.
Yeah, and
I thought that was probably, like, even though it's a super simple play, I think it was actually probably the best play of the game.
Well, and I gotta say, I do think that YoloSynthesis had the right idea. They were able to bring it back, and they pulled back to be defensive. The unfortunate part is they didn't really have any good focus, because by that time, everyone they'd killed on Just Shoot 'em's team had been respawning with full health. They had already had their deaths earlier on in the match and just weren't able to pull it out, so they kind of resorted to 100% defensive plays, juking around, avoiding damage with shields and heals, and just weren't able to pull it back in order to get that final kill to either tie it up again or take the win for them. But definitely a strong play from them. I'm really looking forward to this next match here.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. The second one, it does look like it's already been built up. So Just Shoot 'em. They won on Evos, which was their home map in this particular instance. So it will be YOLO getting to decide where they want to play, as well as picking second. So it'll be interesting to see how they decide to adapt. It seems like more often than not, it's the old door problem for those who took math class in the 90s, where after they lose the first match, they tend to like to go to another map. Usually it's from Evos to Cloudspire and vice versa. Not really seeing a lot of flyaway love by most teams, aside from, again, Trash, who know how to exploit that extremely well. So yeah, I would expect maybe a Cloudspire map, maybe to try to mix it up a little bit smaller map, bit more fighty, more mites. See if they can basically try to out skirmish them, outshoot them instead of grouping up for all those spray and prays. Or maybe they'll just deny Carradine the Lockwood. What do you think would be YoloSynthesis's best?
I think their big mistake kind of started out there in the pick ban phase, where we saw them going for strong freelancers, but they let, I guess, the more top tier picks get snatched up by Just Shoot 'Em with Celeste, Lockwood, and of course they let Helio through the cracks, who is another one of those favorite bans. Just because of the fact that he's not necessarily going to change the game, but he creates instances that you're just going to have to waste a turn to avoid certain traps and combos that are going to happen.
That's true. I did like the Gray still, because it got them back in the game with that two-person kill on the box. But you're right. They gave up a lot of resources in order to make sure that they got the best tank as well as that Gray. They gave up the Helio and the Celeste and the Lockwood. I agree. I think they can't let all those go up again. They can't let the even though the Helio never scrambled anybody. I think it scrambled one person. There's still the risk, right? There's still, with any frontliner that can jump in, the combo can always hurt. There's a reason why lots of teams insta ban them all the time.
Right.
Oh, Just Shoot 'Em banned the Gray. They didn't like the comeback potential either.
Right, and of course they did pick Flyaway Freighter, so they are showing that map a little bit of love. And YoloSynthesis, in turn, responding with the Celeste ban, who I'm guessing they thought just was a little bit more useful in that last match to Just Shoot 'Em than the Lockwood was, which was a little surprising considering the final numbers, although most of that damage put out by Lockwood was done by that very final 3-man ultimate.
Yeah, with Flyway being so big, Celeste having buff control can also be a huge problem for teams that like to just skirmish and throw down and chase each other around the map. So it makes sense. Just Shoot 'Em grabbing Rask again.
Of course. So I think anytime that Rask gets left on the table, someone inevitably is going to snatch him up in the very first turn. We don't see it happen very often where Rask doesn't get banned and someone just leaves, and the first pick team just leaves him there.
Yeah, so depending on their thoughts, it's hard to say if YOLO doesn't prioritize the Helio. They're letting Rask Helio go. That's a bold play, quite frankly.
Well, they are answering with an Aurora and a Lockwood. Of course, Aurora, some people feel that is not the strongest freelancer, especially for league play, although we have seen her played very, very powerfully, especially when Outplayed went up against Trash in the finals. Just the Aurora play was incredible. I don't think anybody was really sure that she could be played at such a level like that.
Just Shoot 'Em got Helio in all but 6 of their games last season, so they definitely know what they're doing on him. This can probably be a problem, or not can, probably. It almost definitely will be a problem, especially on a big map like this. The walls just can be such a hassle.
Well, and Rask Helio is just such a powerful, synergy team that, they're almost perfectly set for each other, because Rask already has the built-in healing for himself, so he doesn't need necessarily healing coming in from another single target support like, say, Aurora or Quark. If he can just get a shield on himself, he can heal himself, so he's then got, healing coming in, one turn healing coming in from the shield, and then, healing over time just coming from his own abilities. So that team up is just so powerful, especially with the dash coming in, let you set up great wombo combos there.
I would expect after the Sasana pick and the Zuki Nyx pick over for Just Shoot 'em, I would expect Just Shoot 'em to be going with an all-in combo, getting everyone positioned, probably turn 2, turn 3, hitting everybody with traps, big one, the Helio black hole with the Rask just diving in there. If it hits, like, it just nukes everybody, and if it misses, it's not actually that big of a deal. Most of Nyx's damage doesn't come from the trap. Most of Zuki's damage does not come from the big one, and it's just the risk of it is so massive that YOLO is going to have to respect it, going to have to spread out a lot, and their team is not really super conducive to spreading out. So,
Well, and my other thing is Just Shoot 'em seems to have almost kind of split themselves up. On one half, they've got the Rask Helio combo, which can be played very, very aggressively. On the other half, you've got Zuki and Nyx, which are typically going to be a defensive play style picks. So they've almost kind of split themselves up between a defensive and an offensive kind of two-man teams within their four-man team. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to play that, because in some instances, you'll see when a team doesn't go all in on one play style or another, it doesn't always work out very well.
yeah, that's if the Wombo doesn't work, right? That's kind of the main downside with that. But the just Helio Rask running around can do work even if the combo doesn't work out properly. I'm not like there's not a whole lot of there's not a cohesiveness that I can see with the YoloSynthesis squad with these picks.
Yeah, whereas on
Maybe there's
just
something there that I'm not seeing.
yeah, whereas on Just Shoot 'em, you've got several displacement abilities between Rask and Helio, traps from Nyx, from Zuki. I mean, they could essentially do a wombo combo, pulling one person through Helio's wall, through Nyx's trap to land him right in the center of a big one. And of course, this is the perfect scenario, but it could be done.
I think in this particular instance with YOLO, I would have rather to see a Finn instead of the Aurora. Just because I think it would work out a little bit more with what they're trying to do. Because from what it looks like, this lineup with the two firepowers of Lockwood and Gremo, they're trying to just avoid like being at max range, or not max range, but being out of sight for as much as possible with the wall bounces and the shooting over walls. That's just my assumption. We'll have to see how they end up playing it, but that's what I'm guessing they're going to be going for, is to just constantly stay out of line of sight, not being able to get hit by anybody.
So yeah, and looks like we got the players in here. So we've got Omnom is on the Grimo, Echelos on Lockwood. We got Jarko Max. Ooh, lost it there while we were loading in. And get that transition over here to the game. So, and then of course, like I said, Jarko Max on Aurora, Box Cube on Asana on the other side, blue team for Just Shoot 'em. Awesome Sauce on Helio, Anatomical on Nyx, Hacksaw, Plain, Rask, and Carradine on Zuki there.
Yep, so they are going for the Wombo combo because they're not running the Scout like they had before. They don't have by they, I mean Just Shoot 'em, because they don't have the Celeste that's going over on the one side for the 3-1 split. They're grouping up as 4. They want to be able to all see them and just all set all the traps and mess with YoloSynthesis. But YoloSynthesis is having different ideas because they're going the other way, but they're still grouping up. Not certain, again, that grouping is their best plan.
Yeah, and just to bring it up again, we've got, of course, Aurora doing a little energy build there while YoloSynthesis heads to the Tunnel of Love up there, which is your typical meet spot when two teams play on this map. It's almost kind of an unspoken thing that seems to be where everybody tries to head to for one reason or another. And of course, Just Shoot 'em taking the opposite approach here, heading down towards the south and spreading out.
Yeah, so we got trap build coming in from Nyx. Since they all know now what side of the map YOLO is on, he can just be dropping the traps down consistently because he knew that they were going to be coming through that tunnel or either just across the map.
Yeah, and of course,
I'm not. No, I was just going to say I'm not really a fan of Zuki's positioning here, since again they knew that they were up in that corner at the very least, and she's not moving in any kind of aggressive stance. She's just hoping, or I guess they're just hoping that they want Helio and Rask to just be causing a ruckus until Zuki and Nyx get into proper position.
And Eshlo's throwing that trap out there. Anatomical with a long-range hit on Eshlos, who then does a bounce shot, not catching anybody. Omnom is Grimo launching out a couple mines, but once again missing, but still catching Rask. And he is running weakened mines, so that that might that Rask just picked up absolutely does nothing.
Yep, so now we're going to start seeing some fight over the buffs. There's so many buffs, and the teams are kind of positioned around this one spawning health over on the left-hand side, for left for me at least. And we can expect a lot of damage coming in, or a lot of CC coming in for this turn.
Oh, and a great predict coming out from Awesome Sauce for the dash from Eshlos, who is now going to be scrambled next turn. Just a couple of pot shots coming out. Jarkomax getting some more energy and healing up both Omnom and Eshlos. Hacksaw knocking Box Cube back, but of course is stuck all the way in the corner now, completely out of position.
Yeah, they're just getting the pot shots down from Anatomical's Nyx, which makes a lot of sense. Not able to capitalize a whole lot on the scrambling, so we're not going to be seeing a black hole scramble combo. But again, they're still getting the Rams down range, whereas YoloS's not poking them back nearly as much.
So an Anatomical tropping out another one of those traps, blocking the way to that health, which of course someone will be headed towards. Omnom taking this chance to splore it to prevent any kind of dashes or aggressive moves toward them, and then throwing out a couple mines to make sure the enemy team doesn't get that health buff for free. Or that energy buff as well. Eshlos, of course, running right through that Nyx trap while everybody moves back into position.
Yeah, so this will be interesting because Rask sees, or sorry, JSE only sees Asana and Lockwood. I believe Yarko Max on Asana is, or on Aurora is one square too far, so he's not going to make the jump and hit the priority targets, unfortunately, in this particular time. But he will probably be dashing to get the black hole value in some capacity.
And Awesome Sauce throwing that shield on himself, probably expecting some sort of damage here. A great predict going on there, trying to catch them with a dash. Eshlo taking more damage from Nyx back in the corner. And Omnom throwing out a couple mines here. Jarkomax did miss with Aurora because of that dash. And of course, both Box Cube and Ashlos pulled into that big one because of the black hole. Box Cube does look like they have their dash up, though.
Yeah, the turn 8 ult from this Nyx is going to be, or could hurt a lot if he chooses to use it. Again, it's just the fact that he has it up so early is actually kind of interesting. Always getting those long-range shots, getting a lot of trap damage value.
So I am curious to see what happens with Carradine. He has been kind of running around the top side of the map for a while now. So, and there goes that dash from Boxcube on the Anatomical. Eshlos taking this time to Canadash out, but Anatomical's ultimate still hitting both Jarkomax and Boxcube, and that big one, of course, now missing, along with Carradine shots as well. Omnon tossing out a couple mines, hitting Hacksaw, and putting another one into position should he decide to move backwards.
So the chasing down of this Nyx makes a lot of sense. Exactly what he should have been doing. He's running adrenaline, however, so he's managing to get out. No CC is going to be able to lock him down, no nothing, and he can slow to try to disengage. So he is going to be focusing more on disengaging than actually dishing damage out. So we're still approximately a little bit tied. Like, obviously, JC's a little bit higher up with the amount of damage they've gotten down, but they're not going to be able to kill anybody for a little while.
So there goes Awesome Sauce doing a two-man Echo Hammer. Anatomical doing the same thing, hitting both Eshlos and Boxcube with an area of effect attack. And Eshlos returning the fire with a spray and pray. Hacksaw then getting knocked back from Omnom, putting him out of position, and Carradine moving in to try and capitalize on the fact that we've got 2 low players on YoloSynthesis.
Yeah, this will be, again, this Nyx is just constantly trying to disengage and heal himself out with the long range shot mod on the primary, along with tons of traps. I think he's going to be able to do it pretty successfully. It's the Lockwood that has to be a little bit worried.
So, and here comes that trap out to try and prevent Asana from getting aggressive with him. Ashlos dashing out while Hacksaw dashes in. Awesome Sauce doing an Echo Hammer on the box cube, and Hacksaw's ultimate goes off, hitting Jarkamax, who's also then going to take some sticky bombs from Carradine. Omnom launching out a couple mines, catching Carradine, but missing Hacksaw because of the dash.
I am not a fan of this positioning on Aurora, and Jarkamax's Aurora. Maybe it was a miscommunication or something, but the entire rest of the team is heading right, and she headed into the wall. This would be a prime time to be ultimate, using our ultimate to try to get Asana and Lockwood having another turn in the game, but again, the positioning is just a little bit disappointing.
It looks like they are going to use that Turtle Tech to try and protect themselves, while Eshlos does a bounce shot on the Carradine. Jarkamax taking tons of damage from Zuki between the sticky bombs and a rocket. Box Cube then going to do a second win, while an Echo Hammer is going to catch Eshlos, followed by a Nyx shot, dealing first blood to just shoot him, and Jarkamax going to get locked into place with that throwbacks coming off a Rask. Jarkamax in a really bad spot right now.
Yeah, we can expect a heal here. There's no way the ultimate's coming in. Sana is probably starting to head over towards Aurora, having seen that she was going to get locked down, as well as the fact that she didn't position herself the best last turn, trying to maximize, again, the ultimate value and whatnot. But
Jarko doing
not
that.
looking good.
Yeah, Jarko doing that big 40 heal on himself, trying to stay alive while taking damage for both Zuki and Rask, putting him down to low teens in damage. Omnom throwing out a couple mines, both of them catching Awesome Sauce. Just excellent predictions with the mines there.
Not good for the bank account.
Yeah, the main downside, it seems like, is that Gremlins, for the most part, is not actually getting rounds down range. Oh, not even Lockwood. Lockwood's died and has only gotten 100 damage out himself. He's been spending so much time dodging, and then eventually got taken down, while Gremo's been on the north end of the map, not really contributing a whole heck of a lot.
And here comes Box Cube with the Retribution. Awesome Sauce throwing out some shields of his own on himself, while also throwing a wall out. Zuki gonna get out of there, catch a little Retribution damage on the way. Jarkamax finally using that ultimate, catching Hacksaw and himself for heal, and Box Cube for a little bit of damage. Jarkamax then gonna take a swing from Rask. We got mines coming out from Omnom, one catching Awesome Sauce, but he's gonna walk the other direction to miss the other one later, right in front of him.
So that was that ended up being a kind of an accidental predict, because Aurora did find Zuki. That's why the follow command from Asana was successful. Managed to follow the movement there. This will be, it's hard to say exactly how YOLO will be able to come back into this, but they do have ults up on almost everybody except for the Aurora, who just used it, and they were able to come back fairly strong last game.
Jarkamax throwing the Paralyzer out, just trying to salvage some of that damage. A trap getting thrown right into the middle of that mix there from Lockwood. Awesome Sauce putting his ultimate on Zuki, which will be dealing damage to both Jarkamax and Box Cube. Carradine then also dropping a big one, a free big one, onto that health before throwing out the sensors for his ultimate. Here comes Eshlos with a taunt, catching Eshlos there. And of course, Omnom throwing out some more mines, catching Helio there. Jarkamax looks like we'll be dying here from a Rask swipe and the Helio ultimate. And of course, Box Cube taking a death as well from the Zuki ultimate. That is a double kill for Just Shoot 'Em, putting them up 3-0.
Yeah, I would expect a Lockwood ult coming in on this time around. Doesn't have perfect eyes on where Carradine is. But again, he's not going to just sit there and take the 50 damage from the Zuki big one. Well, I suppose it's a bit weaker because of being a free action, but still. But Trap Nyx is still there, so it's probably going to be able to get caught, and maybe even caught from this Helio. Oh no, Helio's wall is on cooldown, my mistake. But still, Nyx Traps will.
So it looks like we got Echelos, doing his might for his ultimate because he was in the middle of that big one. He does a... Only looks like he caught Awesome Sauce there, who's now in low health. Rask, of course, jumped out of the way. That big one coming down, doing no damage to anybody. And Echelos still stuck there in quite a bad spot, but Box Cube did spawn just a couple squares behind him. So might be able to come in and help, as Box Cube does have their ultimate up now.
Yeah, that spawn will probably be able to keep Lockwood alive, so he doesn't need to dash this time around. But he still is 3v1ing for the time being. Grandma's going to have to make a lot. He would do a lot of work with this ultimate when it comes out.
So and Echelos did also catch 30 health. Awesome Sauce did do a shift out of there. Omnom dropping a splort down, and Hacksaw doing a swipe but missing. Carradine then catching Echelos with a rocket, who then fires off a bounce shot because of that catalyst from Awesome Sauce, but who is then knocked back. Echelos also walking through that Nyx trap there.
4 turns remaining.
So now the Asana is still chasing around Firepowers as much as possible. Do you feel like she should probably be a little bit more in the fight more regularly? Nyx does have a second ult on turn 17, so the Grandma ult by itself might not be enough to bring the team back in.
Awesome Sauce, of course, using that turtle tech there in the position he's in. Hacksaw healing himself off. Echelos doing a dash for that health, but Anatomical was also catalysting out. And, of course, Sticky Bombs catching both Echelos and Box Cube from the Zuki, who, of course, Echelos dashed right into that. Hacksaw's ultimate goes off, catching Omnom, and Omnom responds with his own ultimate, dealing huge damage to Zuki, and who is then finished off by Box Cube there. So Carradine taking a death there from almost half a map away.
Yeah, this will be interesting how this goes, because JSE has eyes on where Lockwood is. So Nyx can potentially use the ult, but more so than that, it means that this Helio is going to have to correctly predict with the wall to make sure that they can secure the kill in the next turn.
And here comes that wall, just like you said. Looks like he dropped it right there to block off any escape from outside of that wall area there. Echelos does a spray and pray, hitting Anatomical. Here comes that box of pain from Aurora. And of course, Omnom had gotten out of dodge. Anatomical doing his ultimate singularly on to Lockwood there, making that the 4th kill for Just Shoot 'Em. But Anatomical...
Yeah, that was completely...
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that was completely my mistake. I forgot about the sticky bomb, so there was no way he was going to survive that. That was just, bad news bears for Lockwood. Unfortunately, that's his second death this match. He's definitely not feeling good about that.
Oh yeah, take a look at that. Echelos catching both those deaths. Awesome Sauce then doing an Echo Hammer out, catching both Aurora and Asana. Hacksaw still missing. We've got Zuki from across the map dealing damage to both Asana and Aurora. Box Cube with Jarko Max. Box Cube then going to do a swipe, and Anatomical going to throw out that orb, dealing damage and slowing Jarko Max.
Final turn.
Well, there's no way they're going to team wipe this time around. They might be able to get Nyx down on this kill, but I don't see Helio, Zuki, or Rask at all dying this turn. So this is looking like it's going to be another one for JSE. A little bit less well, much less close from Yolo. They weren't able to get that turnaround using Gray Ultimate. What they were relying on was probably that Gremolition's ult, and it whiffed for the most part with a very well timed dash
Yeah.
from Nyx.
Does look like we have the good games coming out. This is turn 20, so really no way to turn it around since YoloSynthesis is not going to be able to get 5 or 4 kills in one turn to win it, or even 3 to tie it up. So, of course, Box Cube went ahead and used that ultimate just to not waste it on Anatomical. And just lots of shots going out there. They did get a second kill by taking down Anatomical there, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, I gotta say, Anatomical on that Nyx, very good positioning. Getting lots of max range snipe shots. Most of his traps hit, all except 2, and he had the repeating trap mod where he could put them down more regularly. Again, it does a little bit less damage than his primary, but it would work when he was getting chased around all the time. Good slow again for the disengage when he was finally collapsed on. And the second time he was collapsed on, extremely good dash. It ended up working out. Locked down the kill on the Lockwood the following turn. Dodged out of the Gremma ultimate. So in this particular case, I would definitely say they would go to Anatomical on that Nyx. I suppose you didn't actually ask, but if we were to give out an MVP for this particular match, I would say Nyx.
Yeah, he definitely was probably, I mean, obviously dealing out the most damage, almost by double, not quite, but almost there to any other player, except for maybe Carradine, who got off a really nice ultimate a couple times. And of course, I do want to say that, YOLO, it looks like they seem to have a stronger second half than they do the first. Unfortunately, they could never really get their momentum going in that particular game. But once again, they're going up against Just Shoot 'Em, they played just about, I think, 5 out of 6 weeks in the league last season. And of course, they did go to the tournament walking away with 3rd place. So this was no just regular team they were playing against. And of course, YoloSynthesis coming back to us after only having played the first 2 weeks of Season 1. So I think they had an incredible showing here. Definitely kind of stood their ground there, especially in that first game up against Just Shoot 'Em. I really look forward to seeing where these guys are going to go after some practice.
Yeah, it's pretty rough for the Yellow squad, but as you're saying, yeah, they're against 3rd place.
So
Can't
and looks like we got Awesome Sauce here for a post-game interview. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing alright. How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Those were some great games there. How are you feeling about them?
Alright. It was a pretty rough week for the team, so it's nice to pull off a couple wins.
Well,
what happened? Were the scrims a little rough, or?
No, just real life stuff. Like, I actually don't have internet right now.
Oh.
I'm actually stealing the internet from my neighbor.
Oh, right. There was a big storm and an internet tower went down, right?
No, I just live in Indianapolis, and we had 2 tornadoes. Well, more than 2 tornadoes, but we had tornadoes 2 days in a row here. And one of those
brutal.
on top of my internet.
Are you the shot caller on your team, or?
Honestly, we don't have a shot caller on our team. It's more of a group effort.
Oh, okay.
Well, you guys definitely did do quite well there. Of course, YoloSynthesis did seem to kind of catch you guys off guard in the second half of that first game. Was there anything in particular that kind of happened there that caused that tie to happen? Because you guys definitely came back much stronger in the second game, and just kind of there wasn't any question about who the winner was going to be there.
Yeah, I think actually it was. I haven't played Helio in a long time, and anybody that has watched me play knows I love Helio. But I've been playing all these other supports, and with these other supports, you stay far back. With Helio, you don't do that, and I was staying too far back. I wasn't able to provide anything for a couple turns. No shields, no black holes, not even a wall really. So that let a lot of kills happen like midway through the first game.
So yeah, and
Right, you.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. You were the guy who played Helio the most whenever you would play on a team. I'm seeing here that you were on a fair number of teams in season 1, and consistently they threw you on Helio. You just haven't played him in between season 1 and season 2 very much, or?
No, just because this is the first team that's let us play Helio twice. Usually Helio is
Oh.
like our number one ban against us.
Right. Did you on that game 2 with the decision to go with Nyx? Was that like a coincidence thing? Did you guys ban out the gray because of like how she brought a YOLO back in the game in season 1, and then just because gray was out, you guys picked up Nyx, or was that the plan going in was to get Nyx? Or
No, we're pretty confident that gray needs to not be on that map because
okay,
with the size of it and the drone being able to cover so much space, we just don't want that involved. And then we looked at the map and realized that we can take Lockwood Nyx. Well, first of all, we saw that we got Rask and Helio, and we thought it was a dream come true from the start.
right.
And noticing that the Aurora didn't use Unstoppable on our Paralaser, that was absolutely huge against the Helio. We didn't even really have to wall combo. I can just use my wall wherever, and people are still going to go through it. The reason we took Lockwood and Nyx is because we can stay out of
You guys had
sight
Zuki.
or Zuki, yeah,
You guys
that's
had
right.
Zuki.
But we can stay out of sight for 10 turns and still do a ton of damage. We had the range game by far, and that's exactly how we used it. We finally convinced Caro to do damage on turn 11.
No, that I think the next pick was genius. Like his positioning consistently was extremely solid. Every time he got hit, he managed to disengage extremely well against the Asana the first go, and that flash in the second time, that was great.
Well, I think Caro is one of the best firepowers out there. I mean, as you can see, Greno, which he's ridiculous on, is constantly banned or picked away from him.
Right.
And I think that kind of hurt them because they took Gremo away from us, but he didn't really have a lot to provide for game 2.
It was Carradine on, wasn't it anatomical on Nyx in? Yeah, Carradine was on Zuki, right?
Carradine was on Zuki, yes, but he didn't get Gremo. They took Gremo away from us, but Gremo didn't provide a lot that game.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
Well, so let me ask you this, because YoloSynthesis, I believe you guys did play against them originally in week 2 of season 1, and they are of course coming back to the league here. And since we're all just a good community here, I know this is competitive, but you guys have any tips or any improvements coming from a tournament ranking team to somebody who's just jumping back into the league?
It's hard because we had a very, very poor showing week 1. We missed anatomical week 1, so we had to bring in our subs, and there was a little bit of confusion there. But honestly, the only advantage that I think JSE really has is we're all pretty old. So we do a lot of background checks and actual strategy before these games. Going into YoloSynthesis, since we hadn't seen him in so long, we really had no idea what to expect.
Right. You guys have been together consistently for a while, right? Your lineup has been largely the same for actually I think all of season 1. Yeah, I misread my data when I mentioned this earlier, but yeah, you guys have been together almost all of season 1 with 1 or 2 subs consistently, right? That's another advantage I think you guys have over most teams, because lots of teams dissolve and merge into each other and whatnot.
Well, we only used 1 sub, I believe, and that was Saber, who is now part of the team.
Right.
Because we're all old and have families and stuff, so sometimes those things take priority. So we have to bring in other players. But then we met Mott's, and he's doing great. He's got a super good attitude, does a lot of art, as you guys have seen for the team and stuff like that.
Right.
And brings a good vibe to the team.
It's good. Glad to hear it. I know it can be difficult sometimes rounding up younger guys to get together for scrims, or even just take an analytical approach to the game sometimes.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited because obviously we're going against OP next game, and we didn't actually get to face them in the tournament for Season 1. So it's going to be real nice getting to face them now. We scrim against them a lot, but never played them in a tournament setting for quite a while now.
Right, it's a little bit of a different squad, I think, these times too. Like, it still has the main Road and Ash. Oh, and they brought in Athy at the end of last season. What since you guys are playing against OP next, do you guys have any general strategy against them that you'd be willing to share, or you want to keep that dark until?
I mean, it's no big secret. Honestly, Atharia is probably the best Aurora in game, hands down.
I'd agree.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't let her take that.
Mm-hmm.
But Z-Raves not in the game currently right now in the pregame lobby, so that'll be interesting since I believe they're like married or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever.
Right, but the roster's only 4 people, right? So I think they're both support players.
Actually, last week Atharia played Gremo in one game.
Yeah, she wasn't too pleased about that, if I recall, actually.
She was not. So it's good. You know, I will always give props to Atharia for her Aurora, but Aurora is quickly picking up on my favorite list, so much so that you might be seeing a little bit more of her as opposed to Helio.
Oh.
Until this new support comes out, and then, you know, there's free reign.
Well, fantastic.
Might be seeing more of who? Oh, Aurora, do you say?
I'll be playing more Aurora, I think.
Oh,
but
gotcha.
Once this new support comes out, we're going to see a huge meta shift, I feel, just because there's going to be 5 supports now. Plus with the changes
Remember, you
to
can't
Rampart.
Right.
Yeah,
you can't play Yeah. Anyhow, I think we're holding up all the games, so we'll let you go.
Yeah, and
good luck in your game against Outplayed.
Yeah, definitely. I know everybody's going to be looking forward to that, and congratulations on your win here. I know we're all looking forward to see how you guys progress through the season.
Thanks a lot, guys. Good luck.
All right, awesome. Good luck
Thanks.
against Outplayed there. You guys have a good one. So, all right. So it looks like we got our next teams up are going to be. Pull this list up here.
COTP
and
versus Voltaic.
Voltaic. All right. So I don't believe we have ever figured out what COTP stands for either.
No.
So I think we may have to ask them today. Let's see if they can catch a win. We might be able to grab that answer out of them.
Yeah, I actually I got a little bit distracted digging into what exactly Awesome Sauce was thinking there, but have to just pull up the team members list for these two guys. Voltaic's been around for a while, if I recall correctly.
These are actually both brand new teams. Voltaic, however, is made up of some, people that everybody kind of knows about here. They've been in the community for a while. Let me pull up their actual roster here. Like, Hellfire, Arid, Kato, Horrifier, Arctic Monkey, and Darkcrow. These people have been around and in the community for quite some time. And of course, COTP. I know several of these people myself. Thrills, who is, of course, on Twitch as well. Big streamer there. Pyrants, Olaf. These guys have been around for a while and following the game for quite some time. So these are both teams, new teams, but made up of people that everybody kind of has heard of at least before.
Yeah, this I'm pretty sure COTP only completely came together yesterday because they're having troubles with going on their 4th. So I think it was Thrills that was brought in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was brought in last night.
Yeah,
maybe incorrect.
So, and it does look like I'm not sure if that was going to be a permanent thing, or not, but I know Thrills has been kind of involved in Atlas Reactor for quite some time. He's been on a couple different teams. He was actually one of the founding members of Outplayed, if I'm recalling that correctly. So it's not like
Right.
this is
Yeah.
his this isn't his first dance.
Olaf, though, he did not. Oh, I'm misspelling the name. I'm trying to see if he made it out last season. No, he didn't either. Or he didn't. I kept thinking that he did, but no, it must have just been my mistake. I'm pretty sure the most experience on COTP does come from Thrills, with as you're saying, founding, Outplayed last season and whatnot. Whereas Hellfire and Arctic Monkey have seen a lot over the course of time. Are we all set up here?
Yeah, of course. Olaf has been around quite some time. I know Pyrant's been following the game for a while. I'm not sure how long he's actually been actively playing it, though, but he is definitely one of the big fans of the game. So I can imagine that this is going to be quite a match here with two of the newer teams to the league kind of going head to head.
Yeah, I'm mistaken again. Sorry. Basically, I was just lying in order to buy time for me to double check some of these numbers. Hellfire and Horrorfire weren't actually seen around in season 1, but Arctic Monkey was hanging around for a while, close to the end of last season on 2 Any Move for You, and they managed to sneak out a couple of wins from some pretty good teams there for a while.
Yeah, and of course, from the first week, we had Voltaic came out of there with 4 points. So I believe they had 1 sweep and 1 tie coming out of that. Then again, COTP didn't walk away with any points that first week, but they were up against some of the more veteran teams.
Right. So it seems like we are waiting on Voltaic. I wonder what's going on. Maybe just need a little bit of a break. We are powering through the match a little bit more than we usually do. Trying a little bit new things with the format. Oh, and I won't lie, I'm a little bit surprised that I blabbered on so long for that interview. I'm glad we got a lot of information though out of Awesome Sauce there.
Yeah, let's just kind of go over a couple things while we wait for him. So yeah, like COTP, like I said, going up against a couple veteran teams, not actually veteran teams, but they did go up against 2 OP and Play for Fun. Both of these teams are at the top of the board from the first week with 6 points, tying them up with Trash, which is kind of exciting in the beginning here. We'll see how they progress through with the results from this week. So COTP did get kind of a bad turn there, going up against 2 teams, which won every single match for the first week. Of course, Voltaic Gaming went up against Just Shoot 'em, and then also Outplayed, but did walk away with believe they did a tie, or no, they swept Outplayed completely, which was really a surprise. And then against Just Shoot 'em, they went 1-1, so an excellent showing, really, from a brand new team.
From Voltaic, you said?
Voltaic
Right?
Gaming, yeah.
Because Voltaic was at 4, yeah.
Yeah, so they're at 4 points currently, which puts them just behind Trash, Play for Fun, and 2 OP, who, with last week's results, are all kind of at the front. Of course, that is going to be changing here by the time we end all of the matches today.
$16. So Thrills had seen like a fair bit of play in the last time around. Just gonna double check how these numbers worked out. But Arctic Monkey over for Voltaic, he was playing a lot of gray last season. I'm not sure if that was consistent with his season 2 performances so far. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's just convenience band because A, he plays it a lot, and B, it's just a strong pick, especially as frick, who do we just have? Awesome Sauce just says Awesome
Right,
Sauce
yeah.
instead. If it's a flyaway game, might not want to allow Arctic Monkey to get his hands on Gray.
So, and of course, they do go with Flyaway Freighter for the map pick. So, I'm kind of excited about this game because Voltaic Gaming, I think that's going to be one of the teams we will want to keep our eyes on throughout the season. Of course, along with the two other teams, 2OP and PFF, Play for Fun. I think these are going to kind of be three names to keep your eye on this season. And of course, Trash, everybody already has their eye on.
Oh, the bands are coming through for you?
They
were not. Okay, there we go. Sweet.
So, and of course, Voltaic Gaming going for that Lockwood ban, COTP answering with an Asana ban. So I'm guessing we're going to see Ras snatched up by them. But they don't. They go for a Gray pick instead. It seems like they have a plan in action.
Well, like you're saying, because Voltaic's got Arctic, right? Yep. So we'll be probably seeing Arctic Monkey on that Gray. And again, I just said it, but Awesome Sauce says that Gray is extremely valuable on Flyway. So can't be too surprised that they're putting on a lot of value there.
And once again, so COTP takes this time to pick up Finn, obviously wanting to secure that as their support, prioritizing that over really anything else at this point. So, and with Asana off the table, I'm actually very surprised to see nobody trying to grab Rask so they don't get stuck with having to go for either Garrison or Titus.
Yeah, imagine it would be Finn. Wow. Okay.
And wow, COTP prioritizing Titus as their frontliner. This is very interesting to see happen. So I'm really curious to see. They obviously have a plan for this. I don't think anybody in these leagues go into these pick bans and just kind of wing it. A lot of these are very thought out by a lot of these teams. So I'm really curious to see where COTP is going with this and what their plan is for this map.
Yeah, it was for sure going to be a Finn and a tank. I'm just surprised there's Titus. This might be a practice thing, not ever expecting to get Rask, that they're going with Titus. Although it is going to be Thrills, almost certainly. Thrills a frontliner primarily. So,
well, I think what might be going on here is I think they actually have a tactic against Rask that they intend on using, because they went for the ban on Asana and they purposely picked Titus. So they obviously want the other team to pick Rask, which is, happening right now. It just happened. So I'm really curious to see what's going on here and how this plays out.
Thrills might just not play Rask. He has very few games actually on him. One game on Rask in Season 1. So maybe it's a comfort thing. But as you said, coming into it with a plan, can expect they probably have a plan against him.
Yeah, because, the part that surprises me is they went for the Asana ban and then didn't go for Rask themselves, so I'm kind of thinking they probably have some sort of tactic they intend on using against a Rask player.
Yeah, right, because they would have just banned out the Rask and fought against the Asana.
Right,
yeah, exactly. You're right.
So, of course, Voltaic Gaming coming in with their final lineup of Gray and Nyx, providing that really long-range damage capability, and then Rask along with an Aurora, meaning that their Rask is going to be just the frontline god with self-heals and single-target heals coming from Aurora. So they've got a really strong backline and then a really strong frontline coming in as well. Whereas COTP kind of went just a solid all-around build. They've got Celeste for their really strong high damage, Zuki for their AoE damage. They've got Titus who can, actually perform quite well as a frontliner, especially if you're going with an all-heal mod build-out. Or you can take it the other way and just go for a damage Titus build and perform quite well that way as a third firepower almost. And then Dr. Finn, of course, probably being one of the most versatile support characters out there right now.
Yeah, I like originally in the pick and ban, I assumed that they went with Finn off the hop because they didn't want the Gray Finn combo coming in, which again can be a huge turnaround for games. But also, again, over on COTP, they're proving me wrong. All this prep. Apparently, I'm just always incorrect these days. Thrills is going on the Zuki instead of on the Titus. That was not what I had expected.
Yeah, and that
He does have obviously some games on as firepower, but I suppose the Doctor just wants to be the warrior general himself as team captain playing on Titus.
So yeah, and looks like so on these teams we've got Horrifier is going in on the Gray, Kato, my good friend, going in on Rask, so highly support that choice. Dark Crow as an Aurora, Arctic Monkey coming in as the Nyx. For COTP, we've got the Doctor on Titus, Olaf on Dr. Finn, Thrills on Zuki, like you mentioned, and Bakoth on Celeste. Looks like we're still waiting on just one of them to ready up.
Yeah, and once again, even Voltaic deciding to make sure I'm always wrong, throwing Horrifier on the Gray, like you said, Arctic Monkey over on Nyx instead.
Well, and I'm actually kind of liking that personally, just because of the fact that, we were kind of falling into a thing where if, somebody took one thing, you always knew who was going to be playing it. People were falling into set roles. And while that's still kind of the case, we're seeing a lot of teams kind of mix it up now. I'm not sure if this is just because they want to be more versatile players or if because they're actually using it as a tactic to kind of throw the enemy off kilter a little bit. So there's a lot of interesting tactics coming out these days.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have probably preferred specialization. In other games, you see people who specialize in support and specialize in front, specialize in whatever. But again, I can't argue with success, right? If they're winning games, swapping over from various lancers to various lancers, then they're winning games. Like that's the only thing that matters in the end, right? To make it to the end, get whatever the prizes are. I'm always left in the dark. I don't know what the prizes are for this season, but yeah, just can't argue with the success. If this is the plan they're going with, and if it works out, okay, then I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, and we're starting to see it more and more where, the developers have always talked about the ability to play mind games, and I'm not sure where that kind of came from, but I actually see it more and more in play recently than I have been since I've started playing this game way back in April. So, we'll see people holding ultimates on purpose. And of course, we've got the new Lancer coming out that's actually going to reward that as a tactic. And, so we're seeing people try to do things that are not expected just to kind of grab an advantage for that next turn.
Yeah. I don't know. It's sometimes there's something to be said for stability, right? I mean, the most consistent team took it all last time around, and you knew for a fact that Sophia was almost always going to be support. You knew for a fact that Avaki was almost always a firepower with rare exception and whatnot. So
True, but we did have, Wooly would come in and play frontliner sometimes. He would play firepower other times. So they weren't 100. Yeah, they weren't 100%. The same every time, but it was pretty consistent.
I feel like that was only in certain circumstances, like if they got certain Lancers. So let's see, Wooly. Yeah, I think it's if they got Rask. Wooly would always play Rask. Oh no, Rask is some.
Yeah, it was, he was typically Celeste if they got Celeste, or if they got Rask, you would see Wooly on Lask.
Right. Yeah. But again, maybe that's just because they're also cocky. Who knows?
Well, I don't think it's so much that. I think it is they know exactly what they can play well, and if whenever that gets picked up, everybody has their part to play, whether it's, they don't necessarily split it up by Lancer type, so they're not specifically a firepower, they're not specifically a frontliner. If you play this Lancer better than I do, you're going to take it because it will benefit the team more, and that's really where their strength comes from, is the fact that they're playing 100% to benefit the team.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Yeah, it seems like sometimes they just swap. Do remember in an interview last week they said specifically one example. One person plays Ray, maybe it was better than everybody else. I'd have to actually dig through this stuff. I still have it in super. It's not pretty information at all. I have to dig through it all individually. But yeah, what's coming? Oh yeah, we're still waiting on a bathroom break. By the way, for people who didn't catch that in the all chat, here we go. All right,
there he is.
Okay, cool. So, again, reviewing Flyaway. We got, first team was COTP with Celeste, Zuki, Finn, and Titus. And it was a little bit of an interesting pick ban because they let Rask go through. They picked up the Titus over the Rask, which again is something that very few teams would do. They must be going in with a plan. And then over on Voltaic, we got the Gray and the Rask and Aurora and Nyx. Not a whole lot of completely there's not like a mesh here again with this system. We got 2 long range firepowers with just the power pick of Rask and Aurora, which seems to be again a regular. But we didn't have Helio banned, so I'm surprised they went with Aurora instead of the Helio. So, again, people they have their own game plans. I'm sure they have them for a reason. Hey, are you still here?
Oh yeah, sorry about that. I was just
Okay, cool.
updating them as to what the delay was there. So it looks like we are jumping into the game here pretty quickly.
Great.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right. So, what do you think the reasoning could be between taking the Aurora instead of the Helio?
Well, first off, I want to comment off that I already like the way this game is going. Everybody's got emblems that match. They've got backgrounds that match. So we see the team, the team spirit happening. So I need you to repeat your questions one more time for me because that distracted me with just happiness.
I was just curious as to why you think Aurora was picked over the Helio after they picked up Rask.
Well, I gotta say, so, Helio is great, but in some situations, especially if you're gonna have, let me just get this switched over here real quick, especially if you're going to have Rask being the primary aggressor, he's going to be the main one taking damage. You want something that's going to provide an actual heal to Rask as opposed to, just a shield for one turn. So sometimes it's a little bit better to actually take a healer as opposed to Helio, who just protects you for one turn, whereas Aurora can provide actual health to you. Which sticks around throughout the team. So if you can just pull back, especially on a map like Flyaway, if you can just pull back for a couple turns, you can get Rask up to health very quickly and get him right back out into the fight to be the one soaking up all the damage. And I kind of think that's their tactic here, especially by taking Nyx and Gray, who are going to be trying to stay in the back and not take any damage if they can.
Might also be an energy gain thing because they are demonstrating rank discipline here. So Aurora is going to be able to get off the maximum amount of energy for this.
Oh,
whoa,
man,
that was...
We got Thrills throwing out that big one with a slow, catching all 4 members of Voltaic Gaming. A great shot there. Of course, most of them probably going to make it out of the range, but still, nonetheless, the enemy team, COTP, now has vision on every member of Voltaic Gaming from that slow, or at least had a previous position on them.
Yeah, they don't know where Nyx is exactly at this point, but yeah, that was pretty good. You have the stream on delay, right? Like that was
Yeah, sure do.
pretty good big one.
So yeah, we keep 5 minutes on all the streams, so there is no way they knew that.
Jeez.
So, of course, Thrill's jumping out there. Maybe avoided some damage from Kato, not really sure. Arctic
Oh,
Monkey,
wow.
yeah, Arctic then taking a shot at Baketh. Baketh now at like half health between the dash, the Rio drone, and the shot from Arctic. That big one coming in, dealing damage to Dark Crow there, and of course everybody kind of moving around a little bit, spreading out quite a bit. Thrill's all the way at the bottom now.
Yeah, this was probably, definitely not what Horrifier wanted to do. He's got the range mod over on his primary, so he doesn't want to be up close and personal. For a moment there, I thought that because they were just rushing all in, I thought that Voltaic might have damage mods on all of his stuff to try to make sure just go in rocking. But
well, and of course, Olaf does do a heal on Baketh, who is then going to dash out of there, dealing a little damage to Kato on the way. Kato is then going to miss his swipe. Horrifier taking a shot to Olaf, who is then also going to be stuck in the box of doom from Dark Crow. Thrill's taking a rocket and throwing it towards Arctic. Ending that round as everybody then moves around.
Yeah, Horrifier's not in the best position, but I don't think he's going to be able to get punished for this. No, not punished at all. So they're just completely surrounding Olaf here. They might be able to lock him down long enough away from the rest of the team to get a easy, quick kill on the support. Or at the very least, burn out the flash. He doesn't have any of his healing abilities up anymore.
Of course, Olaf then uses that turtle tech. Arctic Monkey going to do some cover damage onto him. Horrifier right next to him does a shot to the face. Dark Crow doing a little bit of damage, but not much. And then Kato's going to knock him back into that box, doing 40 damage between the knockback and being landing in the box. So Olaf only has 50 health points at this point. We're seeing really good synergy coming from Voltaic Gaming already this early in the game.
Yeah, this is actually extremely strong because Finn, Olaf needs to definitely dash out or he dies here, but it's not optimal because he's going to be revealed, so they're going to know where he is for next turn. It's a bit of a dicey proposition.
So we see a lot of turtle tech coming out, a paralaser thrown out from Dark Crow. Thrill's going for the sticky bomb, catching Arctic, Horrifier, and Kato in it. Olaf them taking a shot from Hora. Rio doing a little damage to the Doctor there, and Kato doing a swipe on Thrills, who's also going to catch a slow and 30 damage from Nyx from that orb. The Doctor then going to do some damage to Dark Crow, which the Eels are going to jump through, also getting focused on from Baketh. So we've got Dark Crow quite low now, just a little bit below half health, and Olaf stuck in the center of the enemy team with only 17 health left.
Yeah, so Arctic Monkey on Nyx did not fire at Olaf on Finn to finish him off, just because in case he did dash, they didn't want to waste an entire turn's worth of damage, so they split it up a little bit. They arguably got punished a little bit for it, but it's not a big deal. They did have Gray consistently get the rounds down range, so that on this next flash, which just happened, they have vision on him for next turn. So they will be able to lock down the kill next time, one way or another.
Oh, and of course, you got Baketh grabbing up all the energizers on his side of the maps. That sticky bomb going off, dealing 90 damage total. Dark Crow then getting hit by the Doctor from a swipe. Those Eels jumping over to Kato to deal some cover damage. Dark Crow also doing damage to the Doctor and healing it up. Kato a little bit. Great ultimate coming out to finish off Finn and trap the Doctor, who is then going to move through the north side of that wall. Now surrounded by Horrifier, Dark Crow, and Kato. He is not in a great spot here.
Thrills is so far out of position. This is pretty brutal. Titus doesn't have a whole lot he can do in order to minimize the damage that's coming in. His dash one way or another is not going to get him that far out unless it potentially puts on a huge clock, gets put on the 5-turn cooldown, and he doesn't know exactly that Gray is in that bush, where precisely, so you could see the dash, could just see him go down swinging.
And of course, Thrill's going to throw out that big one to slow down Kato, not going to do anything because Kato then dashes out. The Doctor also doing a dash to Kato, to Darkrow rather, and some smoke bombs coming out from Bacchus landing on Darkrow. Horrifier then going to shoot the Doctor, and of course, that Box of Doom landing on the Doctor, and I don't believe it, believe it had the heal mod on it as well, healing up Darkrow for a little.
That was a good targeting there for Horrifier, because he had it in case he got dashed at, he would hit Titus. He got it, and he also had it so that if Titus moved to where he did go, he would hit him, and if Titus stayed where he was, he would hit him. So if Titus decided to deal any damage that turn, he was going to get hit from Horrifier. Good play there coming in from Gray.
So there goes that dart, weakening the Doctor. Bacchus throwing both claws at Kato. And a swipe from the Doctor hitting both Darkrow and Horrifier with the outer sides, only doing partial damage. A rocket from Thrills hitting an Arctic Monkey, that big one missing everybody. But Horrifier gonna shoot the Doctor for a large amount of damage, doing extra damage because of the dart. Darkrow then coming out with the ultimate and a taunt, hitting 6 people. And of course, Arctic Monkey with his ultimate focusing just on Bacchus, who's then going to get finished by Kato, doing a double kill for Voltaic Gaming, currently up 3-0. They are just doing extremely well this match so far.
Yeah, that's the surprise and Exalt did work there, making sure that they locked down the kill down on Celeste. So gets them an early 3-0 lead up turn 10.
Alright, looks like we got Olaf expecting some damage onto Thrills, putting that 40 shield on him. Thrills then throwing out his ultimate. Looks like it's going to be through walls, though. And here it goes, hitting both Darkrow and Kato. And of course, Horrifier then throwing the Rio out to do a little damage to Thrills. Darkrow looks like opting to use a second win, and Kato then doing a knockback to toss Thrills halfway to the other side of the map.
Thrills should be able to still get Ramsden range. The problem is that he's going to be taking a lot of punishment in return. This Rask can't dash this turn to get in on her, but she can be getting hit by both the Nyx and the Gray, which will be dealing more damage than she probably is intending. But now they're back up. All of blue side, all of COTP is together again. They might be able to regroup and get this, or pull back, bring back the game.
So yeah, and of course, Thrills jumping out of the way there. We had Darkrow throw that heal on themselves to bring themselves up just above half health. Horrifier doing a shot but missing because of Thrills' dash there. And of course, that double bubble would have protected Thrills from most of the damage there. But he didn't need it at all. And of course, it looks like we're going to see the re-engage happening this turn.
Yep, this Zuki's got a good positioning down on onto Nyx, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the focus fire coming in there, because Celeste, I believe, is barely within range, if I'm not mistaken, whereas Titus has to kind of decide where he wants to go. I assume they're all going to go onto Nyx, because that's what they got vision on.
And of course, Arctic going to throw that slow and some damage. Eel's going to be thrown onto Kato from Olaf. The Doctor opting to use his ultimate, doing cover damage to Arctic Monkey and Darkrow, hitting Kato for full. Arctic Monkey then taking a huge amount of damage from that final rocket there, being left with only 24 health, and that was after picking up that health power-up.
Yeah. Titus not moving there is actually a big problem. He wasn't going into chase down this Nyx, wasn't going into harass the Gray or disrupt the Sauna. So he's going to get a little bit punished for it, sitting in this Rask ultimate, which is almost certainly coming down when he's surrounded by 3 people.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to taunt that heal there just to let him know that They're not going to be able to do too much to him here, although he doesn't know he's standing in that trap. Ardic's then going to Catalyst out of there. Darkrow is going to catch a little bit of healing from that Box of Doom and throw out a shot there, catching the Doctor behind cover. A Rio going out to hit every member of COTP, and Kato then using his ultimate there to do damage to both Thrills and the Doctor. That trap going off there. He's also then going to hit 3 members of COTP as well. They're just spreading that damage to all of them. Thrills shot missing because of the Catalyst. They just did some pretty good spread damage there coming from that Rio and Kato's ultimate there. But Kato, of course, now caught pretty low with 4 members of the enemy team right around him.
Yeah, Horrifier having second ultimate up by turn 15. Just, yeah, getting it all down range and making sure that, I don't know if you noticed, but the Rio drone has attacks stealth units, so no matter where it goes, it'll always be able to hit whoever.
So, and there goes Kato jumping out of place. Thrills also catalysting just to try and avoid any damage. Looks like most of the attacks this turn aren't going to be doing anything. Kato dashed right into that Aurora basic so he could catch a little bit of healing as well. Great team play going on there.
Yep, so now they don't have eyes on each other at all. At this point, we could see Voltaic just bail, just run around the map, heal up, not worry about it. Hang out in this little bunker in the top right-hand side of the map. Although we do have Gray hiding in the back here, could just be lingering and not.
I think, well, in my opinion, she probably moved into position so she could use her ultimate here.
Yeah. And
So,
yeah, she's just keeping eyes on the enemy team, making sure they know where they are and not getting caught out.
yeah, being the spy there, and of course, nothing really going on there except for a little bit of movement. COTP trying to move as a unit, strengthen numbers, while the other team, Voltaic, is going to be moving around to the other side to, you know, re-engage them if they need to. At this point, they're up 3. They can play defensive all they want.
Yep, but it doesn't seem like that's their style. Gray's breaking the bush, sending in some damage, and see where their positioning ends up.
There it is, doing a little bit of cover damage to Olaf, revealing themselves, and here it comes. We've got Nyx in the middle of them, completely invis, although they do know where Horrifier is, but Horrifier does have that ultimate ready. Kato and Darkrow all the way in the back, so not really in a position to do much this turn.
Yeah, I wonder if Horrifier is going to jump out using the drone, or is going to try to just call the bluff and send out the drone instead.
And
send out the trap.
Yeah, and there goes Doctor rushing on Darkrow. Arctic then taking a shot at Thrills, who's going to get caught along with Bakoth in that Horrifier's ultimate. And lots of damage going on to Horrifier now from several members of the enemy team. Bakoth and Thrills both walking through a wall there. Thrills only with 11 health left now. But it does look like they have their jump up.
Yep, Zugi's got the jump up. We'll have to see how, or everybody has their jump up except for obviously, Finn. We could expect maybe an alt, although they're not really the best. He doesn't have eyes on the Nyx, so
yeah. So a dagger going on. Yeah, and a dagger going on to Kato. We had Thrills and Bakoth both dashing out. Of course, Finn stuck there, like you mentioned. A great predict from Aurora there, dropping it right onto Thrills, and of course that's the 4th kill for Voltaic. And there goes the ultimate, knocking Kato back, but he in turn knocked Olaf back as well. Looks like they're already starting to throw out the GG with only 2 turns left.
Yeah, that some of these predictions been interesting, pretty interesting. Because Red. Sorry, I'm trying to remember. No, yeah, on the one side over on COTP, they got that really great Zuki big one at the start. And then now Voltaic got that just pro box to snipe out the Zuki. Well done.
And of course, there goes Arctic dropping that trap there to prevent the escape from happening. Kato doing his ultimate on Baketh and the Doctor. Also swiping them both, but he is weakened, so not a lot of damage. Baketh throwing out that ultimate onto Kato and Darkro. It is going to kill Kato, who then going to get saved by Darkro's ultimate, and then taken all the way back down from the Doctor. Ryu, of course, finishing Baketh off, along with Horrifier doing a shot from the side to get that 5th kill in from Voltaic, but COTP was able to get 1 kill, so it wasn't a total sweep. So, excellent play of Force from Voltaic coming there. They did that almost perfectly.
Yep, some of those, yeah, just being up in their face the entire time, even though they're using a Nyx and a Gray, just always in their backline. Just the 3 of them consistently, or the 3 of them being Rask being the 3rd, just completely comfortable with winning individual skirmishes if it comes to that, just maximizing the potential damage instead of sometimes we see teams like in a lineup stay in cover and just send rounds down range, maybe like trying to get outmaneuver each other a little bit. That's not what happened here. Voltaic just jumps right in, gets right in the fight, and applying pressure the entire game.
So I know.
The win for it.
So I do think, in my opinion, anyways, Horrifier, I think, kind of took MVP for that all by himself. Not only did he get top damage, but I think he was able to kind of secure the second half of that game for Voltaic Gaming by moving down and just kind of spying on them to capture their positions to allow Voltaic to move into proper positioning for the second half of the game there after everybody got split up and lost vision of each other. Because of his movement into that bush there and just kind of hiding out for a turn, he allowed Voltaic to have the advantage, to move into vision that turn.
Yeah, that his fire discipline too was just impressive consistently. Maybe it's because I don't notice it a whole lot, or maybe it's just that it's like you could also be so rare that we don't that when I do see it, it's super impressive. So there's that one at turn 7 or whatever where he just locked down every potential place that Titus would be if he does damage. Obviously, if he jumps somewhere where he doesn't do damage, it doesn't matter. It's just like a turn of damage for a turn of damage. And then at the end there, or close to the end, as you're saying, making sure he gets the second box down well, just sitting in that bush for so long, not just sending out the drone just to send it out, just keeping eyes on this side of the map, making sure he knows where they are, because they're wanting to get the 5 kills. They don't want to wait and just like run out the clock. They wanted to make sure they do it with a bang. And then at the very end, I don't know if you noticed, I don't think it was completely necessary, but he made sure he cut the corner off of Titus to hit whoever it was, I think Celeste, for that last kill, to make sure that there was no body blocking involved. He got just the right angle to make sure he hit him. Again, very, very good fire discipline all around from Horrifier. So I would completely agree, not just because of the topping out the damage numbers and minimizing the damage received, but just like all around solid play.
Well, and and that was the funny thing, is we were kind of surprised we had that first pick Gray coming from them, and it was kind of like, well, what's going on here? And obviously it paid off just incredibly well for them.
Yeah, and I understand now as well why Arctic Monkey deferred to him to play Gray. Maybe it was a one-time thing. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but if this is any indication of his play on Gray, definitely give it to him.
So yeah, it looks like we are getting set up for the second match here. But, like I said the first time, Voltaic Gaming, it's one of those teams, they're new to the league, but I am really excited to see where they go. Obviously, they've been practicing quite a bit, and, a lot of these players, people just know from the community, and they've been playing incredibly well. And kind of the first sign for that is the fact that they had a sweep on Outplayed in week 1 of this season. So that was kind of a surprise to everybody to see a new team come in and do a sweep on the team that placed second in the tournament from last season.
Yeah, the Outplayed organization was not happy with that, especially since their sister team just what did they get? They got 4 or 6 points. Are they in first as well? I'll double
Yeah,
check here.
they sure are. Yeah, so it was
also in first place.
So yeah, it was them. Play for Fun, which of course it's a new team but has a lot of veteran players in it, and then of course Trash. So I can't wait to see where all of these teams end up on the leaderboard after this week happens, because I'm really excited to see where not only Voltaic goes, but Play for Fun and Outplayed sister team 2OP, which is shaping up to be incredibly strong as well.
Yeah, I'm actually very happy that we have a bit more of an even spread than season 1. Because again, I'll openly admit I didn't watch a lot of season 1, but the numbers do explain a lot of the story. So most of the top end teams, to make sure that they got in as far as possible and make sure that they would be seated in the best positions, if they had the opportunity, they would not play on Sundays, because it became very evident very quickly that Trash was just beyond everybody else. A lot of the squad, maybe not a lot, but a few of the players from that squad had also come over from the Nerf Asana crew, which was like way earlier in the alpha days in those tournaments and stuff, right? So they probably have the most consistent competitive experience. Whereas, but since that's what teams were doing last season, this time around, Trash has to play against like 2OP and whatnot, instead of just all the teams that would be vying for the top spot against Trash all being on Saturday and just playing against each other. There's at least one other team that's looking strong that will be playing against Trash regularly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, just that's one of the things why I'm so excited. I can't wait to see where the leaderboards stand. I kind of think that Trash is going to be facing against a lot stronger opponents this time around, because I know it's only the week 1 numbers we're looking at currently, but with 3 teams all having complete wins, of course, I believe Outplayed in the first season was one of those teams that had all wins, in the first couple weeks, but of course, ran into some issues middle in due to the fact that they were needing some. Sorry, I'm losing my words here.
No, I know the narrative you're talking about.
They were
Logic and Outplayed
Yeah,
were always butting heads. They were 2 of the strongest teams, and they were fighting for second and third place and whatever. And then Outplayed also had that kind of weird schism about halfway through.
Yeah,
which,
it was caused because they needed some alternates and just things weren't quite playing out, unfortunately, the way they needed it to.
Yeah, exactly. So if we ignoring whoever the top teams on Saturdays are, let's say there's 2 or 3 of them, even if there's only one other strong team that's playing against Trash regularly on Sunday, even if they manage to still be the second best in their group and make it to the tournament, they're going in it with more of an advantage than the people on the Saturdays have, because they've been playing Trash regularly. They know how Trash works because they've been playing with them so often. They'll be playing with them for 5 weeks. So,
well, and one of the things I've been hearing though is they don't necessarily. I mean, of course, one-on-one, scrimmages or actually playing them in the league matches really helps. But all of these teams, from what I understand, they have been studying. They're begging us like, hey, when are these matches going to be put up on YouTube? Because they want to start reviewing these matches as soon as they can. They're just hungry for information because everything that they know about their enemy helps them win. So, and of course, we've got these guys coming in. They picked Flyaway Freighter again, and they are just blowing through this pick ban process. They already have an idea of what they want. Voltaic Gaming, going basically for the same build out, taking Titus instead, though.
Right, instead of taking the Rask away. Yeah, that was interesting.
So, and that's one of my favorite things about Titus, though, is you can actually build him to be a little bit like Rask with all the health buffs, or health mods, rather, you can put on his abilities. He can achieve not quite the same survivability, but it gets pretty dang close. And, of course, taking Aurora as well. Basically the same composition. The only change they made was the fact that they took Titus instead of Rask. COTP going a very different direction, though.
Yeah, because the both the tanks were taken. The other top tier tanks were taken. So COTP banning out the Rask and then taking Sana with their first pick. It makes sense that they would wait until the end to grab Titus for their tank. Obviously putting on high priority on the same two firepower freelancers they had last time. I mean, there's a certain segment of people who think that if you're winning in a series, you just keep doing that. It's the onus is on the other team to adapt their strategy to figure out how to beat you. So there's no reason why Voltaic really needs to mess with a winning formula, right?
Yeah, and it's almost like they're taking a page out of the trash handbook where they've done practices on pick bands to build a solid composition with the ability to interchange one or more of their, 1 to 2 of their freelancers if they need to in order to get the composition that they want. So they're, like I said, that's almost one of the things that you see Trash doing every time. They've got basically the same composition with the exception of one freelancer in almost every game they've played.
Yeah, in this particular time, I'm going to be paying attention to Dark Crow Pinoy.
Mm-hmm.
Just based almost solely on that prediction last time. Granted, it was a reasonable prediction. I mean, 2 people had a dash. There's the health globe that was up. Completely made sense that he made the prediction there, right? Not necessarily like the most stellar play, but also, as we were saying, or as I had said at the start, their positioning discipline, making sure she gets the most energy as possible in the first couple of phases, if it's conducive to the way that they're going to be, the way the map's shifting out.
Right.
I just want to see if she's actually, quite frankly, competition for Etheria, because lots of teams, they're not really respecting Aurora that much until Etheria showed what you can do on them.
Right.
There's some people
yeah.
out there, I'm not saying I'm one of them, but there's some people that say that a big part of the reason outplayed, made it as far as they did close to the end, was because she came in and because she just dominated with that support.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the funny things about that is, a lot of the kind of top tier teams from the league last season, that was their position, is that, Aurora is not a top tier healer, and I heard it from just multiple people. So that was kind of interesting when Etheria came into Outplayed and basically started turning heads with, oh, well, maybe Aurora can be a top tier player, because when she came in, she filled out Outplayed and really kind of took them all the way to second place just with her addition on her just amazing Aurora play.
Yeah, exactly. So this making a little bit more sense. Thrills was alternating back in season 1 between frontliner and Helio. So since they managed to lock down Helio, it makes sense that he's on. This is starting to shake it a little bit more with how the data looked beforehand. It's interesting that they're both going bottom side this time around. Nobody is prioritizing the bunker like last time. So going to get into the bloodbath here right away.
And of course, a Rio going out, just trying to catch somebody there. Doesn't look. Oh, there we go. Now they are face to face, and this is gonna get real ugly real fast with Cotter right in the middle of the enemy team.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any reason for Asana, the doctor on Asana, to think he should shield here. They don't have eyes on Nyx, and they only others see Aurora. They might think that Gray's out of position, especially if they weren't keeping track of her primary last time, because they wouldn't think that she could hit them.
And here comes Thrills with an early taunt shield on the field, throwing it on the doctor, who's then going to add a shield of their own. Looks like it added some shields to Thrills as well. Kato with the shout and then daggering both Thrills and the doctor, both of whom are going to get that dagger popped by that box of doom from Darkcrow. Horrifier then taking a shot on the doctor and getting a little retribution damage on his own. Olaf then shooting Kato in the back. And then an Echo Hammer coming in from Thrills. Kato still at basically full health, though, even after a swipe from the Doctor and a Smoke Bomb from Bakath. And Arctic Monkey doing an AoE orb on the Doctor and Thrills. Lots of damage
the-
going out that turn, but still not a lot of damage actually taken. The Doctor and Thrills getting the worst of it with 3/4 health.
Yeah, Nyx got a little roughed up there, as well as the minor retribution damage, but it's nothing super major. It's just more annoying than anything else. So it'll be interesting to see how Celeste handles this after seeing ways from their positioning works out. But I believe Blackburn will probably stick around where he is.
And some
Having
heal
decent
going
fire
from Dark Crow onto Arctic there. Thrills then throwing that black hole on the Doctor. Horrifier doing a dart on the Bakath, who's then dashing out of there. The Doctor also dashing onto Horrifier, landing that black hole next to Horrifier and Arctic Monkey. Looks like a little bit of lag there, but then Kato's gonna do a shot onto Thrills with his basic, and Olaf throwing a bomb and doing a little bit of heals to Thrills and some damage to Kato. Arctic then missing his shot because of the Doctor's dash.
Wow.
But Horrifier still catching his shot since he was dashed right in front of him.
He was looking for the full damage on the Asana after the shield went down. That's interesting. It's also kind of interesting as well that this Asana, the Doctor, is one of the only Asanas in pretty much recent memory ever since they gave that quality of life buff to her dash that doesn't have the extra bounce.
That's true. I do see a lot of people take that. Not a fan of it myself, but it is a very popular mod. And of course, shields going all around. Looks like that wall going out there, because the Doctor did do a catalyst onto the other side of that wall. Horrifier, of course, dashing away. Kato then hitting Thrills and Olaf. Dark Crow then hitting them both as well, doing a little heal to Kato. Olaf then doing a mighted shot to Arctic, and Bakath doing a split shot, doing a little bit of cover damage to Dark Crow, while that black hole then pulls Kato onto the other side of the Doctor, and Arctic Monkey runs right through that wall, scrambling himself and leaving himself with only 33 health.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't agree with that flash. I don't think with Asana, there's very little chance that it would have worked one way or another.
It was a little confusing. They should just lock
down the wall and hope for the best. Yeah. This Nyx though, Nyx is in trouble. Can expect a turtle tech or a flash here because they probably won't overinvest in trying to hit him. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there goes that flash. Of course, Kato then throwing out some damage to Bakath and the Doctor. Bakath then snatching up that health globe. And we got Horrifier moving Rio into position, catching the Doctor, Olaf, and Thrills. While Olaf does do some cover damage to Dark Crow, who then responds by doing some damage to the Doctor and heals to Kato. The Doctor then doing a swipe, catching Kato with it.
So if we're going to spend this series just kind of brown-nosing Horrifier for a second, notice too, when you're talking about how good his positioning is, he's not necessarily always prioritizing cover because he's looking to be out of line of sight and just out of range. So in this particular case, he just ran up to get the health, and instead of stopping one short to be within the cover, he kept moving to try to make sure he had all the sight lines, or all the best sight lines.
I think also he's trying to keep from going into obvious dash spots. And of course, Olaf then dashing into cover there, using that ability. Kato getting rooted in position there. Arctic Monkey catching quite a bit of damage from both Thrills and Bakath, but the cover damage saving him. Olaf getting hit by Rio, and Horrifier missing because of that dash from Olaf. That Box of Doom going on the Bakath and Thrills, and then Olaf doing that spray to both Dark Crow and Horrifier.
So they may have under-committed to getting down Arctic Monkey on the Nyx, because since Thrills left the dueling between Celeste and Nyx, now that Aurora's there, she can ult to try to keep Nyx up and also get damage down, or can just throw in the 40 heal if she so desires.
Yeah, and there goes...
Oh, I'm sorry, the 30 heal.
Yeah, and there goes the Doctor using that ultimate to throw a little bit of shielding on the Thrills, who's also going to shield himself. Arctic's going to go invisible. Kato then catching a little bit of health by shouting and weakening the Doctor, who then catches some damage on Dark Crow with that ultimate, but now he's going to be catching some ultimate damage as well. with Darkro healing up several members of his team and dealing damage, but Nyx is still going to take a death from Celeste, while Horrifier does quite a bit of damage to Thrills, and Thrills then does an Echo Hammer to Darkro, followed up by Olaf with a shot, and that Celeste trap catching Kato for 32.
So here's where it's tricky, because Nyx didn't actually die. He used his healing, so he's back up to 7, just barely alive. And now Celeste is going to have to guess, quite frankly, with the grenades, trying to figure out where exactly this Nyx has gone.
Oh, wow.
He's almost certainly going for a health, but you never know.
Yeah, I didn't catch that second win there. So we've got Darkro doing a shield, healing himself now. And Thrills, of course, throwing that black hole out on the Doctor, giving some shields. Although he is going to get weakened from Horrifier's dart as he dashes into Aurora. We got a smoke bomb going on Pocketh. Looks like it does some healing there. Olaf doing a shot into Kato. And then Rio moving over to Thrills to take him down to single health. But Kato gonna throw that ultimate out, gonna pop the dagger on Kato and leave both of them at very low 30-ish health or less.
So with this survival from Arctic Monkey on Nyx, okay, he has foregone 2 turns of attacking in order to maximize his survivability, right? So he used his second wind, or he used his healing to try to get to just barely survive, and then he sprinted to go and grab the health and then wander off somewhere else. So he could be in all kinds of bushes, except for obviously the bush that Celeste is in right now. So she's still trying to guess. She knows where he has been, but again, it's not completely sure where he is now.
And it looks like Thrills is going to sacrifice himself to drop his ultimate onto the Doctor, who's in position to do quite a bit of damage with it. All sorts of second winds going off, that ultimate going off, hitting both Horrifier and Kato, followed by a swipe on both of them as well. Kato then going to do a hit on the Doctor, along with Horrifier, leaving him at only 38 health, even after that 60 health he got from Thrills. And Thrills left with only 5 health himself.
So if Celeste saw that, I missed it myself, but if she saw where he went, even the ultimate might not be enough to, or won't be enough to keep, or to kill him. Sorry, the ultimate from Celeste would not be enough to kill the Nyx, even if she saw where he went. So they didn't commit enough to kill the Nyx, and they're getting punished for it extremely hard.
Yeah, he's already back up to almost 60 health. So Olaf throwing a might and a little bit of heal on himself. The Doctor throwing all sorts of shields on himself to try and survive this. Baketh doing the dash, as well as Kato, who's going to miss because Baketh dashed out of the way. Horrifier dropping his ultimate on the Doctor, trapping him in place. And of course, they're just kind of leaving Thrills alone right now, knowing he's basically dead as it is. That Box of Doom going out there from Darkro, who's then going to catch an ultimate from Olaf. And the Doctor missing everybody and then walking right through that gray ultimate wall. Horrifier, of course, did that follow on the Thrills.
I don't agree with Baketh's turtle tech there. He turtle tacked and dodged. With rare exception, you don't want to do both. So there's a little bit of a curious decision there. But it's still kind of anyone's game. Everyone's is super low. Anybody can die at any given point. Just if the predictions are on point, it can go either way.
Well, it looks like Darkro dashing out of the way there. Thrills doing a little bit of damage to Horrifier, not enough to kill him. And here comes that ultimate coming from Arctic, leaving the Doctor at 5 health. Olaf going to miss because of the catalyst from Darkro. And Rio coming in to finish 2 members of the enemy team, while Baketh then finishes off Nyx, leaving it at 2-1, Voltaic Gaming in the lead there.
Yes, incredibly low Horrifier, but he picked up the haste, so he's going to probably just run around and collect all the health globes and get ready to pick up the spawning health. Whereas Titus is going to still apply pressure down onto the Celeste and Blackburn, with support probably coming from the Aurora. But again, they're outnumbering them on the map for now, but it's just a 2v2 as far as the actual fight's concerned.
Yeah, and it looks like Darkro is going to put that health on himself while Kato does a shout and an attack to give himself 10 more health. Horrifier going to pop that second win. Baka throwing both claws into Kato along with Olaf's shot, takes him down, tying it up 2-2. Looks like COTP is a little bit more organized this time around to take it to Voltaic Gaming.
Yeah, the trap there. The trap there was placed there 2 or 3 turns before Titus was even there, and it's really hard to communicate where you think the trap may have been, especially in such a random skirmishy with 2 or 3 fights across the map. So I'm not surprised Titus died there. There's really no way you could have predicted it.
Yeah, not much going on there other than Baka throwing out some smoke bombs, hopefully trying to catch someone on the other side of that wall. Of course, didn't catch anybody, but it will provide a little bit of vision deterrent.
It was good too, because the smoke bombs can also juke a little bit, because the position that she put the bombs in, they over on Voltaic they might expect that people are hiding in them, which is demonstrated by sending out 2 attacks into the bush and nobody was actually there.
Yeah, that was a good call by them. Thrills then doing an Echo Hammer to do some cover damage onto Darkro, and looks like this is going to be the turn of official re-engagement with a little bit of 3-on-3 action going on there.
Yeah, this will probably go in favor of Voltaic, though, because Aurora is up there close enough to drop the Paralyze or Weaken, as well as a potential AoE coming in from Nyx. Whereas even though the drone won't be able to get sent over there for a little bit more AoE damage, but it's still a fair bit coming in.
Yeah, looks there's that Paralyzer, just like you predicted, also giving a little bit of shields to one of his teammates there, Arctic. That double dagger coming from Kato, and of course we got the Doctor dashing out to hit Kato, also to follow him. Rio doing a little bit of damage to Celeste, and then here comes a health grenade, also dealing damage to Darkro and Kato while healing up the Doctor and Olaf. But looks like Thrills is going to be the focus of Gray and Arctic there, taking quite a bit of damage, almost 70 between the two of them.
So, in this particular case, if you're going to be fighting a frontliner, you got to make sure you know where their blind spots are. So, right here where Blackburn is on, they're on completely opposite sides of him, Blackburn and Asana. So he's only able to hit maximum one of them unless he uses dodge or his dash. I think his dash should be able to AoE them both if he just stands in place and dashes something.
And of course, a dart going out on the Thrills to weaken him. Olaf doing that dash behind cover while Kato dashes as well, missing everybody. Echo Hammer going out as well, and here comes Darkro's ultimate, doing damage, popping a dagger on the Doctor and healing up several of his teammates. Olaf not hitting anybody with that spray, while Arctic hits Thrills and Gray. Both seem to be focusing him down, have taken him down more than half health over 2 turns.
Yeah, this positioning now coming in from COTP, it's a little bit less than ideal, quite frankly. Asana does have her ult up, so she can re-engage somewhere potentially useful. Because Blackburn does have eyes on Nyx, I wouldn't be surprised if they turn over there. The last round, them having to focus Titus was a little bit rough, but it was the only person they saw and the only person they hit.
And here
so
comes,
maybe they'll be able to turn around this time.
Yeah, and here comes the Doctor throwing that ultimate out to throw a little bit of protection on the Olaf, who's then going to might and heal himself for 10. Thrills then throwing his Helio ultimate on himself. The Doctor taunting his ultimate as he jumps over there to do a little bit of damage to Arctic Monkey as well. Baka throwing out to grab those health globes up, and looks like Darkro is throwing out that box of doom to try and heal some people through walking through it. Arctic Monkey with that pierce hitting both the Doctor and Olaf, while Horrifier does a shot on the Thrills, who is protected, but does take 20 damage as he walks through Darkro's damage box there.
Yes, this positioning is a little bit interesting. The Blackburn doesn't have his dodge up, so he's not able to get behind and just do the spray and pray. This time around, he might have to just take it and get as many rounds down range as possible.
And of course, Dark Crow is going to throw that heal onto Arctic Monkey. It is round 19, so they're trying to keep anybody from dying. Echo Hammer going out to deal cover damage to Dark Crow, but it does bounce to Arctic and Kato there. Kato going to get 2 full damage attacks onto Olaf and the Doctor, and Olaf's going to hit Arctic Monkey but do cover damage and root Arctic Monkey and Kato in place. Here comes Rio taking down Thrills, putting it up 3-2 Voltaic Gaming with 1 round left. Of course, Arctic Monkey and Kato are trapped in place. There is a chance for this to get tied up.
Yeah, I liked that play a lot. Instead of spraying the entire group, he just focused fired onto Nyx, and they know that Nyx has no escapes anymore, so it's up to Aurora to try to keep him alive. This is, yeah, interesting.
All right, looks like
not out yet.
So yeah, looks like a trap going down. Of course, we got Baka dashing through them. A pure shot on the Doctor and Olaf. Kato throwing the ultimate down, focusing just the Doctor, bringing him down to 32 health. Here comes Horrifire's ultimate, dropping it off to the side. Not sure what's going on there. Arctic Monkey getting back up to 14 health from Aurora's basic, but then dying from the sweep from Asana, and Olaf's Blackburn ultimate taking him down. They've tied it up and taken it into overtime, although the Doctor is extremely low on health with only 16.
He's got his shield and dodge up. Should be able to make it. The real question is, what are the target priorities going to be for both sides? I guess ironically enough, they both have to focus the tanks because tanks are kind of in the best positions to be getting focused.
So the Doctor, of course, throws that shield on to try and stay alive this turn. Olaf catching some shields from Thrills there. Kato using that double dagger on the Doctor. So they're going to know where he dashes to. He does dash through the haste buff. Dark Crow hitting Bakath, popping that dagger at the same time. And Bakath then throwing that ultimate out, doing quite a bit of damage to Kato, who's then also going to catch a grenade from Olaf, bringing him down quite low as well. It could really go either way at this point.
Yeah, I expect some grenades and a shot just on the Titus. Again, focusing down the Titus as much as possible, but it's hard to say exactly, where Voltaic's going to be getting the rounds down. Because at this point, I wouldn't be surprised to see Aurora be focusing more on the damage than on the heals and the mitigation.
Here comes that dash from Kato, popping the dagger on the Doctor, taking him down, leaving Bakath at only 18, although he's going to heal himself up with one of those smoke bombs. Horrifier taking some damage from Olaf, and looks like that focus is on the Doctor. He's taking damage from just about everybody, including Arctic Monkey's ultimate. So he just got overkilled incredibly much. They're also going to take out another player as well, bringing it 5-3 for Voltaic Gaming. They have won both games. They ran into a little bit more trouble that time around, but pulled it back together quite well.
Yeah, I should have seen that. I should have noticed the Nyx ult and all that, but yep, they made the right call. Turn around on the Asana. The dodge just wasn't enough to get him out. Probably should have dodged towards Helio a bit more, but again, that's just the way it went. It was tight there for the last couple turns, but in the end, Voltaic's just, as you're saying, stronger team. Maybe not the most consistent quite yet, but they do have their strengths.
So I gotta say, like, they put out just some incredible damage. If you look at the damage taken from the other team, their focus was just incredible. 767 damage on the Doctor and 626 on Thrills there, both of whom died twice because those were the obvious targets that they were picking out anytime they wanted to focus someone down.
Yeah, and they loved their piercing. The piercing mods on pretty much everybody. Well, they got the AoE coming in for Gray, obviously, but the piercing dagger and the piercing primary from Nyx, it was causing a lot of unexpected damage, it seemed. I mean, even when Asana jumped in for the shield, she didn't really mitigate that much because she still took the extra damage, which would have been 36 onto Blackburn, but instead took the 36 herself and 22 went to Blackburn.
So yeah, like I keep saying, Really looking forward to see how Voltaic plays out the rest of their matches. They're just doing incredibly well. Always pleased to see someone new, a team new to the league come in and just do as well as these guys have. Even though they're all veteran members, team play is always different, especially when you're doing it on this kind of competitive level.
Jeez. Are we having a conversation with anybody coming in from Voltaic this go, or?
We should hear in just a moment.
Yeah, because I don't really know what else to say. I mean, every fiber in my being says that Titus doesn't. I don't know. Titus is not as strong as we're seeing demonstration here, but I think it's working out because of there's just so many ways to proc the double daggers. He waits until he for sure gets to. He drops it on somebody, and yeah, they always get procced for the full 70.
Yeah,
35 and 35.
Yeah, you just seemed to be using it at just the right time every single time, and they were using them more to get that confirmation damage on someone to make sure that kill got finished out as well as they could. And let's take a look.
Yeah, it now that I think about it, just the combination between that and Gray, as long as they're both in position. So if he sends out the dagger, so it's going to be 35, and usually when someone's running, they're around below 40, let's say, for argument's sake. Again, this is not going to be scientific at all. This is just like a theory. So they're running or fleeing at around 40 HP, and if they get daggered and they waste the flash, they're known, or any of their dashes, their location is known, and then the Gray, even if it's outside of line of sight, can just send the drone to go finish them off for the 12 plus 35. So it's a pretty good at locking down the kills, I think. Not something I would have necessarily jumped to as a conclusion immediately. I mean, we would have brought it up from game one if we thought about that, but it's one of the hardest things to secure kills. We saw that with Celeste's inability to lock down that Nyx at the end. Sometimes you just need that extra little push, and the daggers plus Grey Drone gives it.
Yeah, and looks like we are joined here from Horrifier. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right, man. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, those were just some awesome games you were playing there. How are you feeling about those?
They could always be better, improvements every time.
Absolutely. So I'm
What do
kind
you
of.
think you did poorly?
What was that?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Septimus.
Well, I was just gonna say, you guys had an incredibly strong match that first time around. What do you think it was that caused you to kind of, I guess, not drop back, but you seemed to have a harder time pulling ahead in the second match? Was there anything you guys, just kind of identified as being the issue that second round?
A lot of it is securing the kill. I mean, like when I had the Helio right beside me several times, I didn't shoot him because I thought he would dash, and I wanted to help the team by I threw the ult on the Asana to try to keep her off the team, and then it worked out. I followed him enough to shoot the drone on both of them. But I mean, it's just securing the kills is the main issue. We got spread out a little bit farther, I think, the second time.
Well, you guys seem to have pretty well, like at the end, just before you came in, we were talking about how it seems like you have a pretty good way to make sure you do secure the kills depending on your dagger usage. I'd have to go back and review it all, but I mean, if somebody's running away at sub 40 health, the drone plus a dagger is 47 by itself. So is that why you picked that, or you just pick it to try to get the most AoE damage with that in the Nyx Pierce mod, or like what was kind of your thought process with taking all the piercing and AoE stuff?
Personally, when I play Titus, I like the Pierce mod because as long as you got someone there to hit them after you throw the dart, it makes for a really good combo and a lot of damage.
Right.
And I got a question, because it seemed like you guys have kind of a pick ban process down. It seemed like you had almost the same composition both games, with the obvious exception of Titus for Rask because of that ban. Is this something that you guys have been practicing on, getting a composition that you like, and you think counters others pretty well?
I mean, we have a certain picks that we like and would like to get to be able to, win some games. There are some comps we're thinking about that are varied and may not work as well, so we're still practicing with those. But we try to get ones that we're better at, because we don't always get the picks we want, but we try to get the ones that were fairly usable by each player.
Well, you guys put a lot of priority on Gray. Is there a particular reason? I think you're extremely strong on Gray personally, but is there a reason why you guys prioritize Gray over maybe Helio?
Well, Gray has a lot of vision control, gives you a lot of data of where the other team is, so we prefer to have her for that. We can do without her, but it's good for that.
Cool.
Yeah, it was definitely good to see you guys playing. You guys are definitely one of the teams I'm personally kind of following along, seeing how strong you guys are doing as a new team to the league. Obviously, a lot of veteran people in your group there, so super excited to see where you guys go. You guys have any predictions for how far you think you guys are going to make it up the chain?
We hope to make it pretty far. I mean, we're looking forward to hopefully eventually going up against Trash and taking them out.
Well, absolutely. Cool. We'll love to hear that. And like I said, really looking forward to seeing how you guys continue to perform throughout the season. And definitely good luck to you guys.
Yeah, on an individual level, I think you're a particularly strong player with just mechanics, just for what it's worth.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. You have a good one, man.
Later.
All right, well, looks like we are going to be getting ready for our next match here pretty soon. And we are going to be covering YoloSynthesis versus COTP. Of course, COTP we just saw go up against Voltaic Gaming, and YoloSynthesis we saw earlier go up against Just Shoot 'em. Both of them seem to have some strong points at one point or another, but both teams did get swept in their previous matches here today. So I think that this will actually be one of the most well-matched matchups we've had here tonight. So very excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, I can't say for sure either way. I mean, YOLO does have, in theory, a little bit more experience, but doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? Not with how we've been seeing it go down today. Yeah, YOLO versus COTP.
All right, yeah, looks like the match just got made up there.
Lock and load.
All right, well, based on the performances we've seen today, do you have a particular favorite for this match? What are you thinking? So, because both
how it went down.
Yeah, because both of these teams don't really have a background beyond what we've been seeing for just this season. Obviously, YoloSynthesis, this is their first week back, so it's a little tough to tell with them. COTP did not get any points in their first week with us, and unless they can either tie up or win this matchup, it'll be a second week with no points. So we're kind of looking at two blank slates here at this point.
Well, to be fair, I don't particularly like COTP's game plan from what they were doing last time around. I still couldn't see what it was that they were trying to do. They did bring it back. Like we said, it got very close last time around. But I would probably have to say I'm more looking towards YOLO. I mean, it seems like they actually at least spent the evening last night trying to figure out what they should be banning out against whoever. So, like, they banned Gray, for example, against JSC, and I guess that's a thing. Like, you ban Gray against JSC because it's a relatively common thing that people do in the middle tiers as far as the mid team is concerned. So I would probably give it to YOLO, but this is before picks and bans, which may be cheating if I wait until after. So who knows? What about you?
Well, honestly, I kind of have to agree with you here. Maybe not for the same reasons. YoloSynthesis played incredibly strong. against Just Shoot 'Em earlier today, while we saw COTP didn't necessarily at any point really put pressure on Voltaic Gaming. It was more of a matter of there was a point in the game where there was a misstep made, and it just kind of went into a point of attrition where neither team was really able to get a heads up on either one, whereas we actually saw YoloSynthesis turn it around and put a lot of pressure on to Just Shoot 'Em for a period. Of course, this was only for one match for each one, because in the other match of both of their pairings, they were taken out pretty handily.
Yeah, that is true. COTP's second game was their closer one, and YOLO's first game was their closer one. So maybe how the first match goes will determine a lot of it. Maybe if YOLO's been losing off stream or off the stream, maybe they maybe it's just going to get to their head and they're not going to be able to stay in the right kind of headspace that they need in order to bring out the win.
So it looks like we've got pick and bans going on here. Let me see.
They're just trying to confirm because who banned Zuki, right? So they're trying to double check to make sure that was on purpose and if the lobby needs to be remade or not. It autoed. Okay, so this will need to get remade. Almost certainly. Just have to talk to the PPL guys here right quick. Sorry, we're just making sure that the communication's all getting down. Because obviously the ban is pretty important. There was in season 1, week 1 was the one without bans. Yeah, week 1, obviously. There was a pretty strong correlation between first pick. So gotta make sure that those bans aren't wasted and throwaway things like with Zuki. I mean, that's
Because
obviously what
Zuki's
they try to do.
definitely not a favorite ban pick for sure, or ever, I don't believe. So I think some of the based off some of the old stat numbers we had, there probably wasn't much pick banning happening, or much banning happening on Zuki at all.
Oh no, yeah, definitely not. Can double check just for sure. Picked, yeah, banned 4 times in total. So is the remake coming?
Still waiting on a response from them. Okay, looks like it's being reset here shortly.
Okay, cool. So, anyhow, what would you expect? I sure hope these are all throwaway stuff from YOLO.
Yeah, no,
Not giving away.
they're not selecting anything at the moment.
So, yeah, I'd expect a YOLO target ban, like I was saying. I'm not sure what exactly they're going to be targeting and what information they get. COTP.
All right, looks like we got Sog, our commissioner, in here, making sure both teams are ready for the reset.
Cool. Rock on. A bit more of a breather, I suppose, to come back, help them bounce back from losing on the last time around. People don't respect it, but salt's a thing.
Yeah,
Getting tilted is a thing.
Well, like I said, both these teams just came off of a sweep against them. So I would like to think that both of them are going to be fighting twice as hard to make sure that they do not have that happen again.
Oh, yeah, it was JSE who went on to play on Twitch. Right. No, everyone's only playing 2. Yeah, So at least they'll both be as tilted as each other, I suppose. But right. I'm setting yet.
Okay.
Again, this is just what we were talking about before at the start of the broadcast about how we've had a few issues with the PPL site. It's just kind of how it goes when your main web developers hang out in China for work.
Yeah. So that is the real problem is the Wolf brand, the main guy, is moving to China and currently has zero internet. So these
Always moving to China.
yeah, so these small issues that keep cropping up. Unfortunately, we don't have Wolf brand around to hold our hand while we get through
Yeah.
it.
Fair enough. And is this gonna be our first Cloudspire game?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
it
played any others.
sure is. We were all Evos and Flyaway Freighter tonight.
I think we got only one Evos too. I think it was 3 Flyway games.
Yeah, it was
That takes me back,
3
jeez.
Flyaway and 1 Evo so far. So our first Cloudspire. Looks like the bands are coming in. So let me.
Oh, it's fixed up? Okay, cool. So, all right,
Get
fair
this
enough.
pulled.
YOLO. Sorry?
I'm just
Yeah,
getting
YOLO
this
home
pulled up here. Boom, there we go.
on YOLO is home on the on Cloudspire, like we were just saying. Picking with their first band is the Celeste in response to Rask, and then COTP taking out the Gray. Maybe they didn't like what Gray was doing to him last game, and they decided to give her a try themselves.
All right, and then of course Asana coming in from YoloSynthesis, going ahead and snagging their frontliner and picking Zuki up as their first firepower.
Mm-hmm. The first pick Asana, again, pretty standard stuff. You wanted to take the most contested ones. Asana being seen by a lot of teams for the most part as the next most acceptable frontliner pick. So probably won't see COTB taking their frontliner till the end. Were they the guys who? No, they weren't the guys who did Garrison.
Yeah, although
That was YOLO.
Yeah, at this point we can probably expect to see COTP pick Titus, who generally is going to be accepted as, if there's a Rask ban, it's going to be an Asana Titus matchup. Garrison currently not a favorite, especially since the tweak that he had, which causes the health buffs to disappear after only 2 turns. I think a couple more tweaks to Garrison and he could be a little bit more useful as a frontliner, but for right now, definitely not a favorite.
So the Finn, oh no, there it is. Garrison and Nyx after Finn for COTP, and Blackburn was the third pick for YOLO. Lots of AoE damage coming in from YoloSynthesis, expecting pretty tight, close-knit fight on the smallest map that we have. As well, I'm still surprised. So few teams are prioritizing the Helio. It seems like there's just less respect for him these days. So the Finn coming out instead, and Helio might be able to just go over to YOLO.
Well, it's really, with the addition of, some of the new freelancers, not to mention that Helio, like I was saying earlier, some people would prefer to have actual healing over shields, which are like a 1-turn temporary heal. So, of course, Helio does have a lot of great combo stuff that he can do, but so many people, there's so many counters to those combos now. People expect them. He used to be so powerful because nobody expected the Wombo combo to happen. It didn't really become a thing until, probably 2 months ago or so, when the league started. Everybody started doing them. People started watching it happen, and they're like, oh, I got to go try this myself. And they started becoming really popular. People started experimenting. not only with new ways to pull off the wombo combos, but with ways to counter and prevent them. And that was when we started seeing more people start taking adrenaline. We started seeing, people taking Unstoppable as some of their mods. And of course, Aurora's Unstoppable Paralaser mod came out, which is, picked, very often in situations where you see a wombo combo coming up on the other team.
Right. Even slows. It can even mess with slows pretty well.
Right.
But yep. You're right. If you're picking Helio before Aurora, that can be a risk.
So yeah, it was just one of those things where, there didn't used to be any kind of respect for adrenaline. Everybody was like, why would you ever take that as a catalyst? And now more and more, we see a lot of top tier players taking that as their preferred catalyst because they know the potential of it.
Oh my god, rolling balance. So much fun.
So, all right.
I do think that's a good sign of a asymmetrical team game is when there's rolling balance. So
Absolutely.
I may have sounded ridiculous, but I'm actually kind of happy that we're seeing examples of that in this.
Well, yeah, and it's, with the fact that the game is in beta, we obviously will continue to see small changes to the metagame. We've already seen since I started playing, things have changed considerably, even though it happened in small increments. So it's one of those things where I love seeing this game evolve. There have been really no big changes to gameplay, just small tweaks here and there, and every single tweak is, in my personal opinion, has just continued to make the game better, and has led to things like competitive gameplay, creating situations that we never would have thought of unless this game had been officially put into a competitive environment, which it has been through the prep phase.
So now that we've seen the picks and bans, who you liking?
Well, I want to go ahead and just say I'm liking well, let's see here. I didn't even consider it. I like YoloSynthesis here so far. It's a little bit untraditional with the Zuki Blackburn on there, but I really like both of those characters. Just the damage potential that Blackburn has is insane, although he's at a little bit of a disadvantage here on Flyaway Freighter with his dash. And of course, Zuki, if played, really well, can just have just insane amounts of damage output.
Yeah, okay, I was just about to say.
Oh yeah, and looks like we will have to remake the game here.
Okay. Just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page about why we're leaving. And since nobody called about it, no one's gonna get punished again for that. It is a little bit frustrating. And maybe one day, when everyone's getting paid to be here and the prize pools are at least 6 figures, then maybe someone will lose. But until then, Friendly League might waste a couple minutes of our time, but no big.
No, it looks like all of one team has dropped out.
Fade into the crowd.
So we are backing out of the match. And it is going to be recreated.
Right. So you were saying you liked YOLO? Why did you say you liked YOLO?
So basically, and it's kind of a situational thing, but you've got
Correct.
Zuki and Blackburn, neither of which are considered to be top tier damage dealers, but both of which that, when played well, can put out ridiculous amounts of damage. Like, just crazy amounts of damage, especially Zuki. You take the proper mods, and the damage output can easily reach upper 600s or 700s.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of Zuki, what do you think about the wall mod?
I think it's terrible. I'm just gonna be flat out truthful about it. I think it's terrible. You give up so much damage, just because you want to have a handicap to where you can shoot through walls. There's no reason why, if you really want to be a firepower and put out just metric tons of damage, you should not be taking that mod. Now, I can see why if you want to play Zuki incredibly defensively, there could be a reason to take it, because you're not necessarily worried about putting out lots of damage. You're worried more about surviving 100% of the game. Then, yeah, possibly. But in my opinion, it should not be taken by anybody who's going to call themselves a firepower. And there's
okay.
that's a very biased opinion, obviously, just one man's opinion, but I don't think there's any reason anyone should ever take that mod.
I think that's the most aggressive you've ever been with me, quite frankly.
Not aggressive towards you, I'm being aggressive towards the mod.
No, like I agree. I think there's a very niche use for that, and I think it's if you're using your Zuki to lock down the kill in the end. So when somebody, like the turn after someone dashes away, if you're in position, do the last 35 or whatever, that's like the only time you'd ever use the wall mod. Otherwise, 100% agree with you. Terrible mod in the ways most games are played. But here, we're finally on the right map. I also like YOLO for basically just because AoE damage on this map, I think, wins games. But, wow, okay. They both went the same way. They both see each other. Getting in the fight right now.
All right, and yeah, this will be a little bit easier to see where it's going to go pretty quickly, especially with just the face-to-face start we're having here as well. Should be pretty interesting to see where things go. Nobody's going for the might right off the bat, which, of course, didn't used to be the way things happen, but that's how everything seems to be going now. Everybody's just avoiding going for that. Of course, Baketh dropping down a trap to kind of cut that line of walking off, while a big one comes in from Zuki, slowing Baketh only. Thrills with the early taunt, and shooting Box Cube, slowing him down as well. He's going to respond with a root, though, and is that Omnom as Aurora going to just build up a little energy off of Jarkamax and Ashelos. Ashelos then walking right through that Nyx trap.
Yeah, Yarko, at first I was like, that's a bad shot, but it was just in case Thrills decided to dash in on that turn. Wherever he ended up dashing, he'd be able to hit him. So it makes sense. The trap, I think, was probably the best play of that particular round, just in case someone went for that might, and he was rewarded for it. Although this big one can hurt a fair bit as well.
Yeah, especially with 3 members of COTP stuck in the middle of it. That double dart coming out, catching just Jarkamax, and of course Thrills jumping in with the root jump, catching both Jarkamax and Box Cube. Box Cube then gonna hit him with a sweep, but 3 rockets coming out of Thrills, hitting Omnom, Jarko, and Box Cube. And that bubble also catching Jarko and Box Cube as well. So and there goes Rio doing a little bit of damage to Omnom. Olaf catching Jarkamax for some cover damage. And here comes the sticky bombs, catching 3 members of COTP, along with that big one, dealing a huge 44 to Baketh and outer ring damage to both Olaf and the Doctor.
Yep, Baketh didn't even move. So this is looking bad already for COTP. I'm
wondering if he was maybe expecting to die that turn.
Maybe, yeah. Which would make sense. Considering he was already within the middle ring of the big one. And there's lots of eyes on him.
So then we got Jarko doing a little bit of health and some might. Baketh throwing that turtle tech on and going invisible, trying to get out of there. The Doctor doing a little bit of heals on him and Olaf. Jarkamax doing that dodge and doing a spray, doing cover damage to the Doctor and full damage to Baketh. And a shot coming from Olaf to hit Ashelos. Boxcube, of course, doing a sweep on the Thrills, who's going to respond with a punch to the face. Omnom then doing a little bit of healing to Box Cube and some damage to Thrills, and a rocket from Zuki dealing damage to Olaf and Bakoth. And then, of course, that sticky bomb goes off on those two, as well as the Doctor, doing incredible amounts of Zuki damage already.
Yeah, the turn 5 Zuki ult, quite frankly, I see no reason why you wouldn't play it right now. It's only turn 5. You could still get 2 more if you continue up this route. I don't really agree with that Blackburn dash. He was obviously super spooked about the amount of damage he was going to take. Didn't realize the energy gain that could have been coming out, or that did come out from target's priority elsewhere.
And there it is, Echelos doing a 2-man Zuki ult. Olaf, of course, getting out of town. The Doctor going to be the one caught in it, who's then going to spray Box and Jarkamax. Thrill's then going to shoot him, slowing Jarkamax down as well, who then responds with a spray, leaving Bakoth at only 7 health. The Doctor dying between that Zuki ult and a sweep from Box Cube, giving YoloSynthesis the first kill on turn 5.
Yeah, that was, it should be expected. Managed to hit so many people with the big one, was consistently hitting people, 3 people with the stickies, he had another 2 people with the primary. Makes sense. Was good play from the Zuki. That AoE, exactly what you're saying. Sometimes if you're able to max out the damage from Zuki, it hurts a lot.
Yeah, Zuki's already at 328 damage, well more than double the damage of anybody else this game so far.
Yeah, that's almost everyone else combined. Well, not quite that much, but it's still
everybody else on her team. Yeah, for sure. Thrill's doing a punch to Jarkamax, who responds with a shot to the face. Omnom right there to throw a box on the Thrills. And of course, Olaf then going to hit Omnom as well with a basic attack, but catching him for 42 because he is revealed.
Okay, here we go. This might actually get turned around a little bit. Red's getting some good punches down. He can hit 2 again on the punch here. He can slow. He might be able to get the angle in such a way, if he decides to do the slow, to also hit Aurora. Hard to say. And this Nyx seems to be successful at running away for the most part.
And it looks like Jarkamax going to catch a heal there from Aurora. Bakoth dropping a trap, but Zuki knew where he was, hits him with a rocket. Jarkamax doing a shot to the face for Thrills. Olaf then going to hit Omnom for some cover damage. Also going to catch a rocket from Thrills, who is then going to hit Jarkamax with his hand cannon, slowing him down. But Jarkamax, the heal from Aurora, is going to be knocking Thrills back.
This is interesting. So Blackburn has his ult, so this Nyx might not be safe still, depending on if he manages to correctly predict or count more accurately how many spaces Nyx had in order to get there. Because I do know his last known location at the very least, but there's all sorts of ults coming in from that are owned by all sorts of members on the red team as well. Both Gray and Garrison have gotten enough energy to be able to drop them if they so choose.
And it looks like we got Thrills jumping in to root both Omnom and Jarkamax in place. Jarkamax was weakened, but does catch some cover damage onto Olaf. Ashlo's catching another great sticky bomb there, catching both Jarkamax and Omnom with it. And the rockets from Thrills hitting Omnom, Jarko, and Ashlos. Olaf then hitting Omnom, leaving him with only 4 health, and cover damage eels going on to Box Cube from the Doctor.
Yeah, I would expect a Gray ult coming in this turn, since she doesn't have line of sight to anybody. She might be able to hit that Asana, but she doesn't have line of sight to any of the priority targets, I suppose I should have said. And it will at least burn a lot of flashes. I mean, that was a good route. It made sense as to why they did either the jump or the ultimate. And they went with the jump this time, since he is running the route jump.
So, and there goes Echelos throwing out a big one. Going to be slowing both the Doctor and Thrills, who then catalysts. But both of them going to get hit with sticky bombs. The Doctor then hitting Omnom, Jarko, and Echelos with a spray. Jarko not hitting anybody because of that catalyst from Thrills. Rio coming in to also hit all three of them, killing Omnom, who then saves themselves with their ultimate, throwing out some damage and healing two other members of his team.
Yep, out juking themselves, just sending the drone out. Oh no! Oh, I'm dumb. He wasn't using the gray ultimate because he's waiting for the doctor to get the Finn ultimate to make sure that people go through the walls. Because again, some people like to counter out the gray ultimate by just standing still and taking the shots from Rio.
Yeah, and there goes the doctor healing up some of his team there. Jarkomatch healing himself up with that might shot. Baketh going invisible, although he is on the other side, but throws out a trap because he does know one member of the enemy team is over there. Thrills dropping his ultimate on the Omnom. Olaf taking a shot at Boxcube, who is on the wrong side of the map from the enemy team. Jarkomax doing a spray on Thrills and the Doctor, both of whom are also going to get caught by that big one. Thrills then goes down from a rocket with Echelos, giving them 2-1 again, or 2-0 against COTP.
Yeah, now it's hard to say if it's going to be enough. Even if they do successfully land the 3-man double ult, Zuki is working her way up towards getting... Oh, geez, almost has it up again already, as well as Blackburn's been hanging on to his for a little while.
You are too slow.
So when Boxcube dashing in at the Doctor, who's going to spray him back. And of course, there goes Olaf taking a shot, but misses because of the dash. Omnom going to use his basic to heal up Echelos and Jarkomax before everybody just moves into position.
Ooh. That's not exactly where Nyx wanted to end up. He was probably assuming that they would have been hiding in the corner, I suppose. Actually, I'm not really a big fan of that positioning overall. Maybe he forgot that his stealth was going to be breaking here right away.
Missile barrel.
So and there goes Omnom with that Paralaser, going to save himself from Baka's shot here if he does focus on him. Olaf then hitting Boxcube, who the Doctor's then going to follow up with and also catch Jarkomax. Boxcube does do a swipe to hit the Doctor. Baka takes a shot at Omnom, but because of the weaken does not kill him. And then of course we have that Blackburn ultimate catching both the Doctor and Thrills, who just spawned. That's gotta burn.
Yeah, we'll expect there to be the shield coming in around from the Asana. Oh no, sorry, mistaken who is where. Asana's actually just in a pretty solid position. She can't be getting a lot of damage down on her. It's Blackburn that needs to be worrying about whether or not he should stand and shoot or if he should just dash out of this one.
And there goes Boxcube throwing the ultimate in to protect Jarkomax. Should be doing 3 damage. There it is, doing damage on both Thrills and Olaf. Of course, the Doctor Catalyst out to avoid it. Thrills getting caught with the sticky bomb. And Baketh taking a shot but not hitting anybody. Thrills then doing some rockets to hit Jarkomax and Boxcube, followed by a hand cannon to hit them again as well. Olaf catching it to the face from Jarkomax, leaving him with only 5 health, but responds with a shot back at Jarkomax, who was protected by that shield from Boxcube's ultimate.
So, the Aurora dash manages to keep her alive. She dashes across the wall, not getting killed by the single attack, the just normal primary attack from the Nyx. And everyone's really low, but again, the blue side, which is, YOLO, has two kills up. So even if they're just going kill for kill this turn, it's still going to be in their favor.
And it looks like Echelos and Olaf both dashing out. Baka then hitting Boxcube, who's then also going to catch some eels from the Doctor. Thrills rocket still hitting Echelos despite the fact he dashed out, but those sticky bombs go off, leaving him with only 14 health. Jarkomax then throwing out a grenade, still hitting Echelos and taking him down to make it 3-0 in YoloSynthesis' favor.
Yep, that was a pretty solid, dash prediction there. Dash prediction there. be hard to say exactly where everyone wants to go. Now, we're getting at the point in the game where you might not want to use your ults immediately because you can't get another one. But they do need to catch up. COTP does need to find a way to catch up somehow.
And of course, Thrill's jumping out of the way. Good thing with that Zuki ultimate getting placed down. Baka using his ultimate here to finish Box Cube off. He does a swipe, hitting no one before dying. Echelos hitting both the Doctor and Baka to kill him. Jarkomax doing a swipe or a sweep just to make sure. The Doctor's ultimate going in, but not going to do enough damage. That's a triple kill. You know, leaving it 5-1 for YoloSynthesis. COTP did get that one kill in to make sure it wasn't a full sweep on him.
Still, 2 ults by turn 15 for Zuki.
Yeah, gotta say Zuki,
doing work.
Echelos really played it well there with that Zuki, who is obviously not a league favorite, but when she is played well, she is played incredibly well, bringing it up to those numbers like I was mentioning, high 600s, you know, 700s, not a problem.
Yeah, I think Gray probably, well, yeah, I would say Gray sat on her ults a little bit too long. She had it pretty early, and wait, did she ever use it? Now that I think about it, she was waiting for Finn to have his up, and they just never comboed it well. The combo opportunity just never came.
So yeah, looks like definitely YoloSynthesis playing very well against COTP. Want to know if maybe COTP can come back this game, maybe tie it up, because at this point, if they don't win this round, they'll basically have gone 2 weeks with no wins at all, whereas YoloSynthesis, at the very least, is coming in with their first week having 1 win definitely so far, possibly a 3-point win if they can take this next round as well.
Yeah, dicey proposition. Oh well, so we are getting ready for the picks and bans here again. This time COTP is getting their home turf, so they get to decide what the map is. It looks like it's Flyway.
And it looks like there was another issue there.
Really? Yep. It was like it.
We're gonna be just a few moments here and get this set back up.
Yeah, YOLO was the one who played Blackburn, so that would not have made it.
Alright, I do apologize about the delay here.
So what does COTP need to do to bring it back?
So, you know, it's nothing in particular I see them doing wrong. I just don't see them taking advantage of situations where they have the advantage. And I think that's really the problem. I think it might just be a lack of communication between them. They're not focusing down in situations where they really need to. It's causing them to not get any kills to bring the advantage into their favor. So,
yeah, it does seem like they are extremely hesitant to pull the trigger on certain things. It doesn't seem like they're completely confident in what their abilities. They want to make sure they have the maximum opportunity. Sometimes it's just best to just toss out the ultimate, right? Like if they positioned well enough, if nothing else, they could have had the threat of the Finn ult later on after Gray ulting, because she was still sitting on it for like 2-3 turns, and Finn was not in the position to be getting lots of energy. It wasn't in the position to be able to like maximize even having the threat of it later on. So I don't know, not super impressed with some of that. So I would agree. I think that be more willing to push the advantage or even just make more progressive move or instead of reactionary moves.
Right, and there we go.
Active, more active plays is what I was thinking.
Well, yeah, and I
Aggressives.
think the other issue is they're not being aggressive enough. All the teams we see that are really kind of pushing forward in the league, they know when to be defensive, they know when to be aggressive, whereas COTP seems to be trying to play defensively too much. Like I said before, they're not pushing the advantage when they have a situation where they could kind of take it and run with it.
Yeah. I don't know if that's well, I'm almost certain that that's not the kind of thing that they can fix up in between matches in a set though. So I don't know. I don't know if them playing their game is going to be able to bring out a win for them.
All right, looks like we got our bans in here, Celeste and Rask. And of course, YoloSynthesis taking that gray right away. COTP answering with Asana and Lockwood. So a lot of solid picks coming out here from the beginning. So I'm curious to see how YoloSynthesis is going to respond to that. They got to go with either a Titus or a Garrison pick, but they may save that till the end since we haven't seen really anybody go with a double frontliner composition at all. Of course, they take their Blackburn this round.
Okay, so yeah, as you said, Gray Blackburn.
And of course, COTP then takes Nyx to get their long range damage in.
Maybe hoping not have to worry about it. They had that Knicks last time. And he made that questionable move behind enemy lines. He's not actually far enough to be in safety.
No.
And his stealth was
And
out, so they saw him.
And interestingly enough, YoloSynthesis goes for Rampart as their frontliner. We do not see that often at all. My whole thing with COTP taking Nyx is they already know YoloSynthesis took Gray first pick, and Gray is basically the anti-Nyx, anti-stealth. So the fact that they would then take Nyx for their side, I'm kind of curious as to why they might do that.
Yeah, it's not a strong play. Like, you're completely right. Comfort, I guess. It's looking like comfort picks. A combination of power picks and comfort.
So, if they had picked Nyx first and then YoloSynthesis responded with Gray, I would understand. But YoloSynthesis took Gray as their first pick. And of course, COTP is then going to snatch up Helio as their final pick, bringing them in with Asana, Lockwood, Nyx, and Helio going up against Rampart, which is a little different. Blackburn, Gray, and Aurora. So looking at these compositions here, I'm going to have to go with YoloSynthesis once again just because of the fact that Gray can so easily nullify Nyx and make him an easy target. However, the Rampart pick kind of throws me off a little bit. I've seen Rampart played very well, and I've seen him played very poorly in the league. So it's kind of just a coin toss with that one.
What's going on?
So what about you?
I prefer this combination. I think the Doctor being on the tank and them prioritizing Helio, them being COTP and giving it to Thrills. This seems to be the most consistent path success It's how they made the game tight in the last series. This is probably what they should have done the first time around instead of going with Finn over Helio. Just like, even if you and I disagree on the between heals and shields and whatever, like completely negating that. Think that with this particular roster, the strength of Thrills on Helio outweighs the strength of Doctor on.
Yeah, and that's possible. And my whole thing with Helio is he is a very strong support. There's no doubt about it. Out of all the supports, I would say he's probably the one banned the most. And I don't necessarily think it's because he's a very good healer. It's because he's annoying. You take Helio. I mean, think about it. You take Helio with his, his abilities that can cause combos, can cause, scrambled, which essentially causes you to lose valuable turns. His whole thing is he can keep you from moving where you need to go. He can keep you from doing the abilities you need to use. He's just an annoyance. He's not so much a strong support. Yes, he can keep you alive for a long time, but in the end, you're still going to get whittled down.
Yeah. Scrambled is such a rare status effect too, because its strength is just so good. I think even if you don't get the combos, just managing to predict like any other trap to scramble somebody, yeah, that can be a big deal by itself. So it's pretty. This time around, they are still running around in big goon squads. It makes sense a lot over for YOLO because of the Rampart, the way Rampart plays. Makes sense that he wants to be hanging out in a big gaggle of people.
Yeah, and it does look like.
Not gonna...
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, it does look like COTP once again. In their previous game, we saw them going up for this love tunnel up here, which of course YoloSynthesis, much like the last match COTP played on this map, they are not going to be met up there. So the enemy team is basically not moving to the expected spot.
Yeah, Lockwood and Nyx are just too strong up there. Makes sense that they're hanging out. They'd prefer to fight in open combat, especially with the versatility from Blackburn, being able to decide when he wants to AoE and when he doesn't.
So yeah, it looks like COTP is going to hang out up there and, at least for now, make the enemy come to them.
Hey, what's the button again where I see vision based, like, as they see it?
It'll be spacebar.
It's spacebar. Oh, okay, cool.
Then we got Gray doing a pot shot out there. Omnom just going to build up a little energy. Jarkomax doing a spray, hoping to catch somebody. Lots of nothing going on. And of course, COTP holding in position up at the top. But it does look like they do have vision on Echelos, who then also has vision on Thrills. But that is all anyone can see so far.
Yeah, this, if Gray sticks around, probably going to get punished, but we will see exactly how this goes down with now that they have an idea, at least, of where each other is.
And there goes Thrills putting might on the Olaf, who then does huge damage to Echelos. Nyx following that up with another shot. Echo Hammer coming from Thrills. Echelos in one turn has been left with 19 damage, then gets bumped up to 33 with Omnom's basic attack doing a little bit of heal for him.
Yeah, that's not good. So Red has much more ideas where the damage actually is now, since they have eyes on this Nyx. This would actually be a pretty solid hook if he chooses to take it, if the Nyx is not running adrenaline, obviously. But this is almost an ideal situation for the Rampart in particular.
And Omnom throwing that big 40 heal onto Echelos, who really needs it after that one turn. Thrills putting the black hole onto the Doctor. Then Rio going out to catch Thrills. And a little bit of brain juice coming out from Omnom for the next turns.
Wow. Okay, so Rampart A didn't use the hook, and Nyx still did flash. So it's actually pretty good call from the Rampart squad coming in from YoloSynthesis.
Yeah, wanted to save that, you know, because he was expecting there to be some sort of dodge there. So here we go. Thrills throwing a shield on the Doctor, who's kind of out in the mix, giving him might as well. Who's then going to pop a retribution. So lots of shields onto him. We got Omnom using that catalyst pretty early. Jarkomax trying to guess as to the position of Nyx. And the Doctor throwing a root onto Eschalos, keeping him in place. Doing a little retribution damage as well as Eschalos shoots him. And once again, lots of movement going on.
Yeah, where exactly does COTP think they're going? I mean, Asana's in there just on everybody, quite frankly. She doesn't know that Aurora's there, but she's there dealing with Gray. Obviously, this Blackburn is probably going to get rounds in her too, while the rest of COTP is not doing a whole heck of a lot.
And we got
Just getting chased around by Rampart.
Oh yeah, a bunch of traps going out there to try and cut Rampart off. Paralaser going on to Eschalos for a little bit of shield. The Doctor catching a shot from Jarkomax. And Nyx taking a shot at Rampart. Who's then going to use that hook and pull him in close. So unfortunately, oh, never mind. Those traps, he walks right through them anyways.
Yeah, this is ideal, quite frankly, for YOLO, because him being Rampart only wants to use his primary regardless, and now Blackburn is up there to give fire support, and the flash for Nyx is down already after trying to not get hooked. So it's looking rough for this Nyx, although Gray is still being chased down by the Asana.
You'll have my way.
Alright, we got the Doctor catching a shield and some might. Omnom doing a little bit of heals with his basic. Jarkomax focusing on Backup along with Rampart. And Eschalos catching some damage from the Doctor with that basic sweep. Thrill's doing a full move to take that health globe and then pull back into position.
Yeah, so this is... I keep saying yeah, my bad. The Gray, again, just getting chased around all over the place. Might be able to go in... it's not really anything good for her to do unless she just straight up dodges out. This Nyx has successfully managed to escape through sprinting and putting on the stealth. I'm not sure why he's going bush to bush if he has stealth on.
Alright, that double dart going out. And followed by the dodge. The Doctor then misses his dash because Eschalos moves, but Eschalos still catches a shot from Nyx. Not sure if that was a fantastic predict. Must be, because there's no one over there he could have shot at, or that he was aiming for. Drill's then catching a little bit of damage from Omnom. So what do you think was going on with that Nyx shot? Was that a great predict? Or
Oh yeah, for sure. It was prediction, because there's nowhere else. Gray had to be somewhere in those 6 squares if she was to dodge out, and if she didn't dodge, she was dead from Asana and Helio. So it's definitely prediction, just covering the 6 squares, which he can barely do with that thin attack, but managed to make it work out.
Alright, and there goes Olaf dashing out of the way of the Rampart attack that is surely coming. Olaf then taking a shot at Thrills, who catches a little more damage from Rio. Box Cube missing because of the Lockwood dash, and Omnom healing Box Cube up a little bit, while Baketh finishes off Gray after a great predict last turn.
Yeah, apparently the kiting of the Rampart worked out. Super unexpected, but apparently that's what's happened.
So yeah, COTP with a little bit longer start, or a little bit stronger start this game.
Lots of alts as well. We're getting at that point. We're on turn 11, so makes sense. Alts are starting to come in. Not sure who's going to use them when, but they are around.
Oh, there goes that wall coming out from Box Cube, blocking off pretty much half the other team. Olaf's ultimate healing up Box Cube for a little bit because of that wall, and Jarkomax dashed out of the way, so that ultimate hit absolutely nobody. The wall still damaging Thrills, and the Doctor catching Box Cube from behind with a root.
But no one gets displaced from the wall, and nobody gets scrambled from it either. Did think it was a good wall at first, but turns out it didn't hit anybody, so it couldn't have been that good. Lockwood is in a pretty prime position to be getting some damage down. And Rampart, he's still got his hookup. He can still slap around some people. It just depends on target priority. Gray is back up, and she has her ult up as well.
And there is the Doctor's ultimate coming in as Asana, doing some protection onto Thrills, who is also going to be throwing that ultimate onto himself. And here comes the taunt from the Asana ultimate, coming in to also deal damage to Jarkomax and Box Cube. And here comes Jarkomax's ultimate, doing damage to 3 members of the enemy team. Omnom doing a little bit of healing on the Box Cube, and Bakath with his Nyx ultimate, focusing on to Jarkomax, who's then going to get finished off by Olaf's spray and pray. Box Cube then pulling Olaf back to him. So it is currently 2-0 COTP, thanks to have very strong turnaround from COTP after their last game. They have really pulled it together.
Bakath is a little bit out of position to be continuing to help, but it doesn't really matter because it's a 3v3 with who is it that had died? Sorry. Blackburn. Because now that Blackburn's out of the fight, it's just a completely even 3v3. Oh, he's got the slow mod on his haste there too from Rampart.
Alright, and a 3-man Echo Hammer coming from Thrills, who's also going to do a little bit of damage to Omnom with his ult. Gray then catching the Doctor and Olaf in his ultimate, who are both going to get a spin attack from Box Cubed as Rampart. And of course, there comes that Box of Death, also to deal a little bit of damage. And looks like one death going to come out of that. The Doctor survives, but Olaf does go down.
Yeah. I would expect that Thrills will also be getting bursted down here too, unless he somehow finds an extremely good flash spot. But I don't even know where he would go if he does choose to flash this time around.
Looks like the Doctor and Thrills are both in not the greatest spot here. Both of them going to catch a dart from Gray. The Doctor dashing out, along with Thrills using his catalyst to get out of dodge. So Rio comes to sit over nothing. Echelos only going to catch a little bit of healing from that, with no damage being dealt that turn at all.
Interesting. Surprised he didn't follow the Helio, but it must have been worried that he was going to flash out of vision range. So instead him again being Rampart, so instead he followed Asana. So this is a little bit of a tank duel going on down on the bottom side of the map, while Nyx is stealth and might make Gray put Gray in a position that he doesn't exactly want to be in.
And Omnom doing a little bit of damage to Thrills while healing up Echelos a tad. Echo Hammer catching Echelos and Omnom, and Nyx with a pure shot hitting Echelos and Box Cube. Echelos then going to shoot Thrills in the face, who's also going to catch a grenade from Jarkomax, leaving him with 1 health.
Yeah.
Thrills currently on the run.
Yeah, this is not exactly where Helio and Thrills or this Nyx wants to be. Nyx will probably be putting down traps as best option, but this Rampart also has the potential to be able to save some members of his team when they get reduced down.
And there goes that health going on the Box Cube. The Doctor then putting up his Retribution Shield as well. And there's that Nyx trap, just like you called it. And a wall coming from Thrills, trying to catch anybody who wants to dash at him. Box Cube then hitting the Doctor, who's going to respond with a root. And a bounce shot coming from Olaf, catching nobody. Jarkomax doing a spray to finish off Thrills, tying it up 2-2.
Yeah, so now if the Doctor if COTP wants to keep it up and manage, if they want to keep trying to make this or if they want to keep giving YOLO a run for the money, they got to get in better positions than where they've been. I mean, this Lockwood is not in a good position to be dueling with Blackburn. This Nyx isn't really in a good position to be shooting anybody.
And here comes the trap from Lockwood. Boxcube does throw the wall down to keep any damage from being dealt out to at least Echelos this turn. Omnom's going to use that chance to heal them both up with his basic attack. The Doctor popping that second wind, and an orb from Nyx being blocked from that wall, while Olaf does does catch some damage from Echelos, or from Jarkomax rather.
So this will be a rough one again. So Nyx in out of position once again. There's no way that he can dodge a hook if Rampart decides to do it this time around. But this Doctor or Asana, if they don't focus down Asana, can get lots of damage down as well using just primary.
And there goes Jarko, putting some might and some health on himself. The Doctor dashing out with the Catalyst. Olaf shooting Jarkomax, while Omnom heals up his team and does a little bit of damage to Baka, who's also going to catch a shot from Gray. Jarkomax going to do a little cover damage to Olaf, while Baka does a Pierce Shot, hitting Boxcube and Echelos. And then that hook coming in, pulling Baka back into the enemy team. Not where you want to be as a Nyx.
Yeah, this is real bad. This is real bad for COTP. YOLO managed to correctly juke them. Asana was worried that she was going to get bursted down. She flashed out, but in reality, they focused down the Nyx, and Nyx probably won't survive past this turn. So that means there's 2 turns for COTP to tie it, which is completely within the realm of possibility, but Rampart's been hanging on to his ultimate, so we'll probably be able to use that to make sure that it doesn't happen.
And there goes that dart, weakening Nyx, while the Doctor then catches a black hole, jumping in to catch Box, who's then also going to catch a shot along with Echelos' Pierce Shot from Nyx. Rio doing some damage to the Doctor. Jarkomax doing a shot to the face from Olaf, who's going to bounce shot him back. Echelos then doing damage to Nyx, who's going to get finished off by Boxcube, making it 2-3 in favor of YoloSynthesis. That makes COTP having 1 turn to finish someone off to tie it up.
Yeah, this I would think that you'd see a Lockwood ult coming in here, because we're almost certainly going to see a Rampart ult and a Aurora ult. So it'll be difficult to decide until it all comes out. You can't really predict exactly how this will go down.
Reap your just reward.
And there goes Jarkomax flashing out to avoid damage. Echelos coming in with the Gray ult, surrounding the Doctor, and then doing a who does a swipe to kill Boxcube. Surprisingly, didn't use his ultimate to get out. A spray and pray catching 3 people from ultimate. Omnom then using his ultimate, but it's not enough to save Boxcube.
What?
And then a black hole pulling in 2 members, but then he walks right through that wall, leaving him with only 33 health. A surprising turn.
Yeah, this, okay. COTP looks like they can actually take this then, because this Gray has no escapes. He's going to be relying on this Aurora to keep him alive, but then Aurora might die. It's dicey. Oh, and the Blackburn ult is here.
And here comes the Doctor coming back in with his ultimate at such low health. Thrills then putting his ultimate on himself. Baka throwing down a trap, while Olaf dashes back in with his ultimate. So many ultimates. The Doctor then finishes off Echelos as Asana, bringing it up. COTP at 4-3. Thrill's ultimate going off, leaving Omnom at 28.
Oh,
I can't believe this happened. I can't believe it happened.
What? Okay. That's Rampart. Rampart could have stopped the black hole from hitting the rest of his team.
He could have avoided all of his damage. He had his ultimate up and chose to stand there and deal out damage instead of getting away. It threw the team for YoloSynthesis.
Yeah, I don't have words. I mean, if he was going to stay there, which is one thing, could have positioned himself right next to Asana and shielded up so that the black hole did nothing, right? Or he could have just left, could have just gotten out of dodge, not worried about it. They would have taken the kill. They would have won it 3-2, right? I think that was holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like yourself. I'm kind of at a loss for words. YoloSynthesis had that wrapped up, and somehow they ended up losing because I'm going to just simply assume there was some sort of misclick going on there for Boxed Cube, who didn't dash out when he had his ultimate up.
Yeah. I think this is the first time for this broadcast that I'm at a loss for words, because I expected YOLO to take the second one. Like for around, what was it, turn 11 and 12, it was looking close again. But I was pretty certain that YOLO was going to take it again.
What's going on, gentlemen? How you doing?
Hey.
So it looks like we're joined by Thrills. How are you doing today, sir?
I like coming into the league on a fresh team of people I've never played with and see what happens.
So
yeah.
So let's
it's interesting.
Yeah,
to say the least.
So let's address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
What do you think happened at the end of that second game there?
They did not secure their victory at all. I called it in chat. If you guys saw that, I was like, they're gonna all flash out to save their lives and win the game. And that was my complete assumption, because they had at least 2 dash ults. So I was like, that's it. We're losing this. But they stuck it out. Only one person flashed, and he was the one that needed to do the damage. So, and then when he ulted and missed us, like, I yelled. I couldn't believe he missed us all. Because that was a triple kill he could have had right there.
I think we were all yelling. So.
Oh, no, I mean, it wasn't too bad. But I just, like, the second his ult came through the X, and I was like, he missed us all. Holy wow.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So, the Blackburn ult, you mean? Yeah.
Yes.
That, I couldn't believe it either. I thought he was going to go again, because I thought he was going to secure it on...
I thought he was 100% killing 2 of us, because we both... There was 3 of us had at least 30 HP, and that would have ruined us.
Right.
So, I mean, his base damage alone would have done it.
Oh, there's no way he could have hit...
he was too far out to hit 3 of us, yeah.
Yeah, he would either just hit only Lockwood, or he could hit Helio and Asana. But either way, I expected him to hit something, and he didn't hit anything.
Not seeing the Rampart ult was insane to me. I was expecting to get smashed on that dude anytime.
Yeah, exactly. The Rampart ult. Yeah, I don't know. That was
it was tense the whole time. Like, I thought they were just gonna juke us.
Yeah. So now that you guys are on the board, though, are you planning on sticking around with COTP for the long haul, or what's the plan?
I mean, I messed up because I was actually supposed to be with Voltaic, but I just recently started full-time streaming, so I kind of screwed my whole schedule up and missed practice, the tryouts. So I got called on by COTP to help out because they were low, man, and Mr. Saiyan hooked me up because I couldn't get on the website for whatever reason. So I mean, I'm gonna stay here. I mean, if it falls apart or something, this is our mindset. We know we haven't played together. I mean, I played with Doctor literally like 6 games maybe total in the past week, but I haven't played with anybody else on the team. So my idea was, let's get some practice in, let's have some fun and see what happens. I mean, you can't take this that serious. I mean, no, you can't aspire to be trash, which is the weirdest thing to say, but
you can, just not when this is your first day together.
Don't expect it in your first season, but let it build up, get your games under, because I probably have as many games played as the entire team put together. So
I was looking at that too, because you're primarily either Helio if you get it, or frontliner, right?
Well, I main frontline. But I've been playing a lot. I've been playing a lot of firepower recently, just to kind of round myself out. And of course, I mean, Helio was one of my first level 10s back then, but level 20s. So
right.
But yeah, I'll play anything. I told him every time I say I'll play anything. I don't care.
I think frontliners are, because they're so rare, like everywhere in solo queue and whatever,
Right,
and there's fewer positions for them. If like this is just like from player to player, really. If you want to go far, I would highly recommend try to stick it out on frontliner yourself.
Oh yeah, I mean, Garrison is my bottom bitch for sure. I've played him as much as I played Helio. About 160 games, I think, 150, 160 games each.
Well, I have to break it to you, but he's not nearly as strong anymore as he used to be.
No, but I mean Garrison. No, I mean he might get a minor buff in the next big patch, I think, but he only needs an energy buff. Honestly, I don't care about the damage. He puts out damage. You saw me. I put out like 60 damage the first game in rockets alone. Then I put out like 50 in the next game. So his rockets are good. The energy gain is only 3 when you use the double rockets, so it kind of sucks.
Most people will give him a hard time for his survivability compared to other frontliners.
I mean,
what do you think of that?
It's all in how you play. You can't expect to jump into a 4-man team and not get killed. That's anybody. Doesn't matter how much health you have. If they turn on you, you're gonna die. The end. But you gotta play your cooldowns right. Really is what it comes down to. So I do run brain juice on Garrison, which my 2 will get cooldown immediately, and my jump takes off 2 turns. So I mean, I'll go from a 5-turn to a 3-turn jump, and I'll be able to black hole or do some wombo combo, whatever is required with Garrison.
Right. You also run 2-turn missiles, I saw, right?
Yep, correct.
Yeah. Is that to try to help with the energy gain?
It's the energy game, but it's also so first season, we weren't allowed to taunt anything but ults. And of course, I've been double taunting for like 2 months now straight. So I accidentally taunted my rockets. And I just love the double taunt on the rockets. So it's more of like a visual thing for me, like a funny thing. But at the same time, it does put out good damage. Because if you go over the full action, then you got to hope that you're in range of 3 people to get the full 60 out. So
yeah, I think you average like 4 usually if you have 2-turn rockets, because you can't always guarantee that you're going to be in the best position.
Right, but I mean, I try to average the 3 per turn, because if I can get 6, I mean, that's the 60 damage I was missing from the full action. But I also got to put out a blast, a punch, or I got to jump to someone else and root them. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, you're running the route too. I think
every day, man. That's the only jump mod I use.
Yeah.
I don't see why. I mean, why not? Why not have that CC? You know, especially if you combo with like a Zuki big one and somebody just happens to land, you're getting locked down, buddy. Burn that flash for me, please. Thank you.
Or Celeste works with Celeste too.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if she has the increased damage on that trap, dude.
Or get a second root.
Gotten some pretty sexy 42 damage traps out of her. So
right. Anything to add there?
Yeah, well, just let me ask you this, because now that you're planning on sticking around on the team, where do you think you guys really need to kind of improve? Because up to this last game, COTP hadn't been on the board at all. Of course, last week. You weren't in the team, and it's a brand new team, so it's still kind of getting its feet wet. But where do you guys see as your main area of focus for improvement?
I mean, communication's pretty good. I think map awareness for some of the guys, because they're pretty new. Like we were having an issue where I was like, "Hey, can you shoot here?" And I'm pinging the map, but they're turned a different way, not even looking at it. So we're probably going to work on map awareness in general. And then just getting games under their belts, because these guys are still pretty fresh. I mean, I'm sitting here like we're going over the cutesy bootsy things, like, hey, let's get our banners to match and stuff. And we had to change it like 4. We had to change it 4 times because I've got like almost everything, and these guys are like, yeah, I don't have that. So I'm like, all right, we're all gonna be prospects. Let's get all the basic stuff, and we'll be cute. Let's do this. So it's really it's map awareness and just the feel of the game, the pace of the game, because I mean, these guys have been playing for maybe a couple weeks, I think. So I literally just met them last week, the first time.
Yeah. Make sure, talk them into sticking with it for sure.
I think we'll be fine. We'll stick through the end for sure. It's just I don't jump ship. I get let go apparently. So
yeah, you're an old army guy, aren't you?
So Yeah. I actually August 21st. So, cheers.
August 21st, you just got out?
Yeah, it was my last day being paid by the army.
Oh, cool. Cool.
So I already have an awesome beard. Let's go.
But no, I'm sure the doctor is like glad to have you. Between the two of you, I'm sure you can make this team into something. Maybe I'll make it to the tournament.
I mean, we could be contenders. We just got to work on it. Put some hours in,
Yeah.
work around everybody's schedule.
Cool.
Same thing everybody else is dealing with, except for apparently Trash, because they all live together, I guess.
Is that true?
No. But they played so much together that it's like unrealistic for any other team to think that could work. Because they've been together since the game was in alpha, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were Nerf Asana, I think, beforehand, with 2 or 3 of their members at that time.
All right, that just gives me something to aspire to, beating them. That's it.
Hey, if you can beat them with fewer
Let's
games,
do it.
fucking do it, man. Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm down for a challenge.
Thanks for talking to us there, Thrills.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good night.
You have a good one, man.
Cheers.
So, all right, everybody. Well, that was our 3-hour Prep Phase YouTube Season 2, Week 2 event. Just kind of go over what we saw in case you didn't catch the whole broadcast. We started out with Just Shoot 'em versus YoloSynthesis. Of course, Just Shoot 'em swept YoloSynthesis 2-0. Followed up by COTP versus Voltaic Gaming. Voltaic Gaming also swept COTP, taking that game 2-0. Finally, we finished it up with YoloSynthesis versus COTP. Ended in a split match with a completely amazing last couple minutes, taking it into overtime, where one team apparently had it wrapped up with a bow tie and turned around and kind of lost it there. Just amazing matches all day long. What do you have to say, Siege Lord? Anything to say to the peeps before we log out here?
No, I hope YOLO sticks around, but I hope they also admit that they managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So, we'll see how it goes next week.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And I'm not sure. I believe the Twitch channel is still going. That's twitch.tv/prepphase. You can catch both of us tomorrow, us here on the YouTube, and of course the Twitch channel as well. Will be starting at 11 o'clock Eastern or 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock Eastern or 11 o'clock Pacific tomorrow. And so that's it for me. And joined here by Siege Lord. Everybody be sure to have a great weekend, and we will see everybody tomorrow. Thanks for watching.